Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Parkscope Unprofessional Podcast Hour. Joining me tonight is Nick. Nick, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, Joseph. How are you?
I am doing well. It is balmy out. It was cold. It was like 68. It was overcast, so it's like fall in Ohio now or something. So I have a delicious Warlock. There we go. From Southern Tier. And I'm pouring into my pumpkin glass right now.
We have a severe thunderstorm, and it's about 100 degrees because it's still August. So, welcome to the South.
Yeah, we have a low front coming in, so it's pretty warm. It's pretty cold, so whatever.
Yeah, we're getting those outer bands of Harvey moving over. So
I see. Also joining us tonight, you may know him from such things as the Magic the Memories and merch, or the Saturday Six, two-time medal winner. Two-time Run Disney medal winner, I'm sorry, just not any medal winner. Pizza champion, Pizza Challenge champion, is that right, Derek?
Mania,
Pizza Mania Challenge winner. From E-Ticket Report.
Co-host of the E-Ticket Report, the most productive podcast on the internet today.
And also co-host to, pardon the pixie dust, I forgot what it was called. It hasn't come out in forever. It's Mr. Derek Burgan. Derek, how are you?
Howdy.
Sorry, Nick, what were you going to say?
He said he's also the man who Lynn Testa has on speed dial for menu updates.
That too.
That's right.
He wakes up in the middle of the night.
What kind of pizza they sell at Monsters Cafe? I can tell you.
Just cold sweat in New York City. He's like, I need to know. Just dial up Derek. He's probably up anyways, and he'll just get all the information. So we have
What's up with Nick going to bed at like 8 p.m. now? He never even returns my 2 a.m. text, let alone the 4 a.m. ones.
I have a baby. I get up at 5 o'clock. The baby goes to sleep. I go to sleep. Them's the rules.
That shows how long I've been on this show. You've had a baby, Mike's a lawyer, and Disney announced rides. That's how long it's been. Thanks
and
to Joe
Mike got married.
Keeping me on the block list.
and Joe is still, well, there.
Single! Woo! Sean has a girlfriend.
Joe actually has fun.
Yeah. Sean has a house. Mike got married. Nick has a kid. I think that's about it.
Lane became a member of the podcast by his own will and got married.
Yeah. So we're going to do a little different podcast today. We're going to start off with the top 6 attractions and the bottom 6 attractions at Universal Orlando Resort. We're going to talk some Halloween Horror Nights. Wow, it's been a day already. Halloween Horror Nights news. And then we're going to do a little intermission for like 2 seconds, and then we're going to go back in time to August 16th, which felt like a year ago, to talk about some Cedar Fair news with Mr. Andrew Hyde. That's pre-recorded, if you couldn't tell. So, let's start off real quick.
Felt like a year ago to some of us.
Yeah. Man, yeah. So, how do you want to do the top? So, Derek, you did a Saturday 6, and you're doing a Saturday 6 on the top 6 attractions at Universal Orlando and the bottom 6. And all this information comes from the Unofficial Guide.
That's right, and touring plans. Anybody who subscribes to touring plans and then they have vacations at Walt Disney World or Universal, when they come back, just like Universal and Disney do, you're getting an email with a request to take a survey. And so a lot of people, which is just unbelievable, and I think Len, when we talked, I don't know if he talked with you or when he wrote his articles on the menu, on the restaurant reviews. I mean, they get hundreds of thousands of responses. Not as much as Universal, but they still get plenty. And their opinions are certainly different than us, the blue ribbon panel of the blogger. What did Ken call us? The blogarchy? Blogarchy.
The blogarchy, yeah.
What?
Blogarchy.
What?
It's like the oligarchy plus blog. You just add blah to the front of oligarchy. Yeah. So blogarchy.
Surprisingly, it never took off.
Yeah, as you can tell, real easy to spell and even easier to pronounce. So let's kick it off. Last Saturday, I think that was the 26th? Yeah, the 26th. August 26th. That was my mom's birthday. I should remember that. August 26th.
2017.
Of 2017, yes, of 2017. You did the top 6 attractions at Universal Orlando. So let's go over those real quick. Do you want to lead this off, Derek? And then we'll kind of cover it also and kind of give our thoughts on it.
All right, we start off with kind of a shocker: Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey at number 6.
There we go. Yeah, that one seemed that one seemed low compared to a few of the other ones. But what are your guys' thoughts on it?
These people are crazy. They're wrong.
I think there is, if when you follow Twitter a lot and just people hashtagging the Wizarding World or listen to podcasts, a lot of people get sick on Forbidden Journey. Mm-hmm. I mean, they love the queue, they love the ride, but they get off feeling sick. And I don't think any other ride on this list gets that type of feeling afterwards.
Yeah, that ride's infamous for just getting people real sick. That probably plays into it, and probably the intensity also doesn't help.
I mean, I've never gotten sick. I've never gotten sick on that ride, ever.
I've never gotten sick.
I've gotten a little dizzy the first time I rode it, but I kind of figured out if I focus on Harry Potter and watch him instead of watching all the stuff going around on the screen around him, it doesn't make me sick. But if I ever don't focus on him or Ron or whoever's the main person on the screen, it'll get me every time.
In all fairness, though, I did go to Food and Wine and get a La Cava margarita, and then did Mission Space. So I have a stomach of steel. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, I
have been sick on Mission Space. I don't think I'll ever do it again. Maybe I'll do the new green version because they changed the film, but I'll never do the orange one ever.
Yeah, I did the orange one perfectly fine, but yeah, Forbidden Journey, man, there was the Penny Arcade guy went, and he had the infamous comic of him vomiting over everyone on the ride, and just his write-up of the whole land. He's everything's great except I got really sick, and Moaning Myrtle was laughing at me as I was puking in the toilet.
I've been on it with somebody he puked to as a friend. So.
Oh, did it go everywhere or?
I was I was not in the on the bench with her. She was on the bench behind us, but yeah, you could smell as soon as she let it go. It was at the Whomping Willow.
Hopefully not upside down.
Yeah, that's what did it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Now Universal doesn't need to shut that ride down when people puke Flight of Passage, right? They just keep on going.
No, they keep trucking.
It depends, I think, where. If they puke on the belts, I think they do shut it down. But if they puke on the ride, it's just go time. So, to the point where when they did the refurbishment this past year of Forbidden Journey, there's, talk of, man, I really hope they, power wash the puke out of everywhere.
Yeah.
And, and reportedly, cast members have special Forbidden Journey ride path, shoes just for doing that. That's how bad it is. So, yeah.
Wow.
Hopefully no one's listening to this while they're having breakfast or lunch or dinner or anything like that. So we promise that's the end of the puke talk. We swear.
Mid-coitus. Maybe this isn't getting him in the mood.
Yes. I don't know. You know what? Rule 23. If it exists on the internet, someone's has a fetish for it.
Yes.
So, Derek,
and that's your Tim Grassi update for the night.
Yes. Number 5.
Harry Potter and the Escape from Escape from Gringotts. Forbidden Journey finished number 2 when I polled just people in the bloggers. You guys were part of it. Len Testa and many other, Jim Hill, many people that were well known in the theme park universe. 2 years ago, I polled all them, and Forbidden Journey came 2. So it's way back on the list compared to what we all thought. And number 5 is Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts.
Mm-hmm. I wrote up on that article. I wrote the Gringotts review. It's cooled for me a little bit. I still really like it. But I can see why it's so low because I think people expect more from the attraction, and it may be too similar to Spider-Man and Transformers. That's kind of what my feeling is on this. What are your guys' thoughts?
What's the overall length on it? How fast is this ride? I think a lot of people think it seems fast, but I bet it has quite a bit of length compared to some of the newer rides we're getting, which are really timed down to under 3 minutes. Yeah,
I think it's a 4-minute ride or something. Yeah. And I think the max speed it goes at is probably around 20, 28 miles an hour, but that's the beginning and the end, which is a very small component of the actual attraction. Right. Yeah, so
it sets you up. I mean, that's your big weenie when you walk in the land. It's jaw dropping. The beginning of the queue is it probably beats the Hogwarts Castle for that part of it, the lobby and stuff like that. I don't think it extends the whole way through, but I'm surprised that people can put Gringotts above Forbidden Journey for me. I think Forbidden Journey from front to end is overall a better attraction. I
like Gringotts better than Forbidden Journey, but
really,
yeah, I always have. I like that it's like a real story. It's got a narrative to it, whereas I feel like, and I've said this before, Forbidden Journey is just like, here's everything that happened in Harry Potter in 7 books all in one experience for you.
Yeah,
which makes sense.
Yeah,
but
the greatest hits package.
Yeah, like the part of me, I just like the whole. And I'm the type of person who likes looking at stuff from a different angle. So I like that I'm seeing something that happened in the books, but I'm seeing it from a different point of view at the same time. And I'm getting like some other gaps filled in too, like Voldemort coming and seeing what happened to his things and stuff like that. It kind of, I like that perspective a little bit better than Forbidden Journey, but that's just, just me.
Okay.
No, that is awesome. I think they changed the game, and one they should follow with on future rides of doing exactly that, where you are actually riding the movies. You are in a scene of the film that you've seen and get to get that unique perspective, like you just said. It's awesome. It's even a better take than anything they've ever done with rides where they take you into that universe. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
exactly.
like even the old attractions, it was, this is where they filmed Jaws, but it's going to happen again, or Back to the Future is a completely separate storyline or confrontation or anything like that. You're not in the actual movie you saw. You're just in something that's a facsimile to it. But this one, you're actually in that part of the movie, in Deathly Hallows Part 2. So, cool.
And they nailed it. Everything feels real.
I do prefer the Hogwarts queue better than the bank queue, but I don't know who wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, even I like the exterior queue for Forbidden Journey better than the exterior queue for Gringotts, so it is what it is.
Yeah. Do they sell beer in Forbidden Journey? They were selling beer in the Gringotts line when I've done it, when I've been stuck outside. And I haven't seen them do that in Forbidden Journey.
They have that cart,
but I haven't seen it used in a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while, and I don't remember it having beer. I remember it having like water and pumpkin juice, but I don't think I remember beer. But it's been years since I saw that thing being used, like 2 or 3 years. So I don't know.
Water or Gilly water, which is water with the $4 surcharge.
I think at the time it was the regular water because they hadn't done the Gilly water, because I don't think Diagon Alley was open at the time. Last time I saw it being used.
Dasani.
All right, number 4.
Dumbledore's favorite water. Sorry, continue.
That's what he uses in the pensieve.
Yeah.
Number 4. This was probably the biggest shocker: The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I would have loved
to be roundly taken as the best ride in Orlando for the last 1999. That's almost 17 years.
Yeah.
But I get it too, because it's not accessible to everyone. Like some of the things a little bit higher on the list are more accessible to people, and the 3D. I still think the 3D fatigue is part of it. It's another ride you get on and you wear glasses. Even though I think it's the best use of that we've seen ever.
And it took a big upgrade a couple years ago when they put the different version of the character. It's just a much better film. I mean, not that it wasn't great before, but now it pops. It's fantastic.
There's someone actually, I forget who did it. They uploaded a comparison of like they basically, when the vehicle takes off from load, they did a side-by-side comparison, and you get to see every single change. So you see when you're at remember when they were talking about you're going to be at the screens longer. Remember that? They were hyping that up. Anyone remember that?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, so one of the big things was they upgraded to 4K. They added new music. They upgraded a bunch of stuff. And then they said, you're going to be at each screen longer. And you get to see that. Like, you're actually seeing more animation. So it was
like a little bit slower, wasn't it? Not much. It was like seconds slower, but it was slower, right? Or something like that.
What do you mean by slower?
Like, you're more in the screens. Like,
oh, yeah, you get maybe like 1 or 2 more seconds per screen of animation. And then but it adds up, so yeah. I mean, I think the 3D fatigue does play into it a little bit. Otherwise, it'd be higher. One of the things I was wondering is like, hey, if they took this poll in 2013 before Transformers opened, and before Fallon opened, and before all those attractions opened, and Gringotts. And what happened? And I also want to see what they did if they took this poll like in 2011 before all the upgrades, because that'd be interesting to see if it's bounced around any.
I think the only negative of the ride is they added too many Stan Lee. Now it just jumped the shark, so to speak, and it's just too many, and it takes you out of it. I think he's best used in small versions for a quick laugh rather than repeatedly. And I think if they did this in a Marvel film, people would start to reject it. If he was in 4 scenes in the movie, people would just be like, what is going on? When he just does that little quick thing for a great laugh, that's why you love it and you can't wait for the next one.
Mm-hmm. That's why he should just be the trash truck driver, and he shouldn't be in that red sweater. He should be dressed up like a trash truck driver, but it should be Stan Lee, and that should be it. He should be there. That fits his little cameo things, and it would be hilarious to see him as a trash truck driver.
Yeah, I completely agree.
There's so much Stan Lee, it's invaded Derek's profile picture on Skype.
Yes, it's too much, and I love him. Number 3. This one did not even make the list when the bloggers picked Popeye and Bluto's Bilge Rat barges.
I think I get this one because everyone likes a water ride, except for Mike.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely the best rapids ride, I want to say, in Orlando and probably in Florida. Arguably one of the best water rides, up there with Splash Mountain. And it also eats people. So, like, unlike Dudley Do Right, where it seems like that attraction just takes forever to load, this one just eats people and gets people soaking wet.
And kids love that style of ride, too.
Yeah,
so
exactly, yeah.
If I'm riding it, like I can see myself already when Amelia gets big enough to ride it and Amelia's having a good time, I'm automatically going to have a good time too, and I'm going to associate that with fun. So I'm going to give it a good score.
Yeah, when we took the family to Disney on our last trip in February, and we did Cali River Rapids, and of the 2 trips I went on, the kids didn't even get wet, and they hated it. They hated the ride because of that. That's the only reason they went on. They don't follow the story or the lack of one there is. All they want to do is get wet. And there is like one moment where maybe 1 or 2 people in that ride is going to get splashed on. And the rest, you have a good chance to have your phone out and nothing's going to happen. Whereas Popeye, you're going to get drenched, possibly drowned, depending on where you sit. And I think everyone in the raft laughs. You know, whoever it's a communal experience, seeing people get drenched, and it's going to be your time in the seat coming up, and it's just a hilarious experience to be a part of.
I think that the unofficial guide refers to it as a full baptism. Popeyes, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah, in Len's way of writing. That's a great ride. I love that ride. I just don't get on it enough because I'm one of those guys who only wants to ride like in a bathing suit and then like immediately go back and change. But hey, whatever.
A water park.
It's better to stay on site and just enjoy that trio of Jurassic Park River Adventure, that and the Dudley Do Right. Just keep doing a little circle and go change.
Yeah, do Dudley. Yeah, rope drop Dudley. Get on Popeye. Go to Jurassic Park and then get something to eat and go back to the hotel room. Yeah. Or go back to the hotel room and then get something to eat. I don't know. Do whatever you want.
Dudley's queue is like punishment, though, having to go and you just stop and you have to stand there for like 20 minutes while I don't know what they're doing. And
that defeated last time I did that ride, that defeated our group. Like, everyone was like ready to go to Jurassic Park afterwards. And then they were just like, we had a stoppage, and then they had all the express people, and we just waited forever, and everyone just like, can we go to Cowfish now? So yeah, it's Popeye. It's great. Thumbs up. So Derek, what's number 2?
All right, number 2, the Incredible Hulk coaster, which almost makes no sense because you can make arguments that the reason a lot of these rides did better than they did compared to when bloggers voted is because a lot more families are inclusive in stuff like Popeyes and what we're going to get to at number 1. And the Hulk is actually one of the most exclusive rides. I mean, only a certain amount of people are going to ride that coaster, and yet it scored so favorably. I'm wondering if the massive redo they did last year made the scores just skyrocket. It just seems crazy that it's rating this high.
I also think it helps that it's like definitely the most iconic ride at the resort.
Yeah, definitely. The most iconic. Well, yeah, it's on all their signature billboards. It's the Hulk.
Yeah, when I get my alerts for Airfare Watchdog, I get the Hulk more than I do anything from Disney. Like, you just always see like either the skyline, or you see the people on the Hulk, or you see the tunnel, or you see this or that. You see the loops. It's just like the Hulk, 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 Hulk. It's like, it's visually appealing. The people rock it out like over the walkways, I can just see why people love it so much.
You hear it throughout the park, the only ride, except for maybe Doom with people screaming. But that's it. I mean, you're over in Sue's Landing, you hear, ah! If you're at your hotel, you're at Royal Pacific, you hear it.
Yeah.
So it's pretty amazing.
I'm just glad that it was Hulk and not Rocket, because I was afraid it was going to be Rocket.
Yeah.
I wish it was.
we have a long-standing feud with Derek and Rip Ride Rocket.
All right, and number one, which came in almost last when the bloggers reviewed it, the Hogwarts Express.
This one is surprising.
It makes sense.
It makes sense, but it's still surprising.
It's the most inclusive ride
in my
at the
top
resort.
6 rides. Yeah, I would not put it number one, but it is in my top 6. I love doing it every time I go there, especially bringing new people who have never done it. Because there's I think a lot of the other rides on this list, there's equivalent at Disney, whether it's better or worse, or something you can say, it's kind of like this. Disney has nothing like the Hogwarts Express, and I think it's just awesome.
It's also the most accessible Potter attraction there.
Yeah.
So I think that helps a lot.
And sells beer in the queue, which is always and beer and chips. I think all queues should be doing this at this point.
Every queue should allow you to buy beer and chips and bring it on the ride. Imagine how much better It's a Small World would be.
Yes. Exactly.
just double fisting PBRs while riding It's a Small World and tossing the cans at like some of the figures.
The Peter Pan queue would probably be a lot more tolerable with a couple 40 ounces in there.
Yeah, you know the popular drinking game Peter Pan and 40s. You can't get off
since
Peter.
It looks like Disney Springs is getting rid of the Neverland tunnels. Let's bring them over to the Magic Kingdom. Let's give us some of this stuff.
Yeah, I was looking forward to those Neverland tunnels quite a bit. They sounded pretty awesome.
They gutted everything people wanted from that Edison.
Yeah.
That's another story for another day. It was a heartbreaking week for people who expected Disney to do something great at Disney Springs.
That's true. Anyway, but Hogwarts Express, I think, as I said, it makes total sense. The one thing that's surprising to me is I could see it getting nicked because people feel like they're being gypped for having to get a 2-park pass.
Yeah. But I think everyone buys this. I just think they get over it.
Yeah. I mean, it's, like I said, everybody can ride it. There's no restrictions. The whole family can do it together. You have enough space in there where you can fit 8 people in a thing and you get to do it together. You get to see each other's expressions. You get to see every character that you would want to see from Harry Potter. It's just, it's solid. They did a good job with it.
For like Joe wanted to see the numbers for Spider-Man. I would like to see numbers now of, I don't see people buying or upgrading that many in the parks. I think people are just buying 2-park tickets now because the parks are so close together. They know Diagon Alley is great. I don't think that high a percentage of people are buying it just for the Hogwarts Express. I'm sure there must be some, and probably some that drives them crazy. But I think the Universal is such a good 1-2 combination now that I think most just buy the 2 parks no matter what. It just makes more sense.
Mm-hmm. Well, you also have with the Hogwarts Express, like whenever for the fandom of Harry Potter, there's key moments that you want to experience. You want to get your wand. You want to go to Hogwarts. You want to ride that train when you see those movies and you read the books. You want to do that journey, and you get to do that. Yeah. So, it feels a want, which is...
You want to see platform 9 3/4. That's a signature moment in the Harry Potter universe.
Mm-hmm. Let me think. Is there anything else? I think we're pretty good. I think we're pretty good with the top 6. So let's dig into the bottom 6 attractions. Right. I don't want to call them the worst.
I think when I did these privately with you guys,
yes.
I don't think you got a single one right.
No,
I did.
Also, I just want to.
The same thing happened. I was on the Park Blogger, and I just had them rank their lowest 3 to compare, and they didn't get a single one on the list. So it's just really amazing how the regular public sees things at the theme parks compared to people of our ilk, as you would say.
Yeah, well, and also just to say, even the lowest rated attractions, most of these are above 3 stars. So that's why I don't want to say worst. I just wanted to say the bottom 6 attractions.
And the same at Disney. And I think part of that comes from you're taking the survey when you just come back from a vacation. You still have that honeymoon period. You're excited. Both Disney and Universal do one hell of a job from the resorts to the restaurants, and you get a great package. So something has to really stick in your craw to give it a bad score. Disney had the same thing. Almost everything was above 3 except Stitch's Great Escape.
And also people have a thing where they like to rate things either 1 star, 4 star, or 5 star. Like they never use 2 or 3 stars. So it's kind of inflated that way also. But,
yeah. All right. Ready to start with number 6?
Let's do this.
All right. Poseidon's Fury.
I can see this. I can totally see why.
Besides the water tunnel, what else is there? Water tunnel's cool. Everything else stinks.
I think the show is bonkers at the end in a great way. It's just an unbelievable reveal. I mean, the story's crazy, but I think it's crazy in a it's ironic or detached. It's just a neat thing that I'm totally into.
I really like
passive.
It. Yeah, well, yeah.
It's very passive.
I mean, but I really like it. I mean, the only problem is like the first 2 rooms are pretty boring. It's not until you get to the water tunnel and then the actual end scene that like everything's happening and it's really sweet. That's just my... Oh, shut up.
And it's the least handicap accessible ride maybe in Orlando. I'm surprised why we haven't all killed ourselves walking on these steps in the dark. It's a rather strange way to get people in and out of a theater.
But I think there's one thing we can all agree on. That facade for that attraction is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good facade.
And it makes you wish Disney and Universal gave their Imagineering and the Universal Creative more clay to work with rather than just giving them IPs to recreate stuff we've already seen before. Because they have some good imaginations, all of them.
Yeah, some imagination, huh? Yeah, Poseidon's Fury. I don't know what else there's to say.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, it's got a bad villain, but besides that, it's all right.
Lord Darkanon, everyone's favorite.
Well, it's number 6 on the worst, but I would be one of the first 2 for me for underrated gems. I think that a lot of people just skip.
I don't disagree with you on that. I completely agree. I think that's definitely a hidden gem up there with the Camp Jurassic. But shut up, Nick.
All right, number 5 is definitely not an underrated gem. The Tri-Wizard Spirit Rally, and I'm really glad this made it. Because a lot of people, not a lot, but some people responded on the highest ones was like, this is so Potter-centric. Why don't you just interview people that don't like Potter? This shows that the people don't like Potter when it stinks. And this show kind of stinks compared to the quality of the rest of the 2 lands. So I think people are honest. This Potter stuff, when it's good, is great. And when it's not good, it stinks.
What's surprising is that this is lower rated than the choir.
Nah, the choir's cool. Choir's cool.
I like the choir
to this.
Sean's wrong on that one. Since he's not here, I'll definitely say it. Sean is wrong on the Frog Choir.
Frog Choir. It's got puppets. What more do you want? It's puppets. Everybody loves puppets.
Everyone loves puppets. That's why I love Beetle the Bard.
Exactly. They're maybe not be the best puppets in the world, but they're good. They're puppets.
Also,
singing puppets. Yeah, and basically, this was the most live action puppets we had until the Muppets went into the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah. Also and also a cool thing with the Frog Choir is that if it's raining out, they just go inside Hogwarts.
And do it.
They do it inside Hogwarts instead. Yeah, so that's always cool. Do you know how bad the Tri-Wizard Spirit Rally is? We haven't even talked about the show. We're talking about the Frog Choir instead. That's how bad this is.
Another show that's better.
Yes.
I've never even sat through the whole Tri-Wizard Spirit Rally. It's not even that long.
I don't think I have either.
Boring. It's so boring. It just, and also the problem I have with that whole area is that it just makes this giant clog of people trying to get to Forbidden Journey and Jurassic Park.
It's horrible placement for that stage.
Absolutely atrocious.
It's just bad.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But don't worry, it's in 2 other parks. So not the Diagon Alley shows, these shows.
Shout out to the 27 remodels to get them rocks how they look now on that stage.
Yeah, Throwback Thursday to when they redid that stage and those rocks like 10 times in 2 years. Like that was insane. Like,
that has got to be the most rehab thing at Universal in the last 10 years is that stage. It's gone down like 20 times, seriously, for new flooring and for the rocks and for whatever else they did to it.
Well, at first it was like a low level kind of flat stone area. Then they built the higher stage, and then they redid the rocks like 4 times. So,
Well, they just redid the floor not too long ago too.
they redid the floor again?
I think so.
Oh, jeez.
Unless
Anyway, welcome
What
to
can they do with this though? Because what you like you said, it's at a pinch point. If you make a better show, it's just going to make a worse problem for everybody else.
well, now they've got some more space to work with,
the blessing
or
of
they
size.
will in a few days.
Push it back. Yeah, push it back.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, and also what's interesting is that they have better shows in Japan. They have a whole entire wand demonstration show in Japan.
Yeah.
That's not here. That is awesome. There's special effects. It's like a magic show. It's really cool.
They could also bulldoze an attraction that's going to be named here in a little bit on this list and make a true Potter show. But
Okay.
Ready for the next one?
Yeah, we're ready for the next one, which I think is
Next one.
one of the biggest surprises on the list. So
Yeah, no, it doesn't even make sense to me, and I'll have to try to think. Well, I did think about it a lot today, and there's some things. Okay, but number 4 is the Simpsons ride, and for me, I think a lot. It's a ride that was kind of shoehorned. They didn't really change much. The inside of the ride, so you're getting a ride that was built for Back to the Future, and they just kind of threw a different IP in there. I happen to like it because I love the IP, but I can see how others would not like that lack of innovation. And it's another ride I think it's not as crisp as a lot of the more recent screen-based rides.
I think one of the
that's a
problems.
bad queue.
Oh god, that queue is
It's got a
terrible.
great. What are you talking about?
No.
That's what
The
having a baby
layout.
does.
The outdoor
All right.
part is bad. Once you get inside, it's all right. But the outdoor part where sometimes you just get stuck standing out there in the sun for like a cycle of that ride while you're standing there sweating forever, about to die in July. Not fun.
Let me put it this way: the queue video is amazing. The queue itself is terrible. That queue video is really good. Every single montage video in the land is great, but man, that queue.
I think a lot of people don't realize there's new Simpsons material in that queue.
Yeah.
They mix it
No, they
between
don't.
the original stuff and the and new stuff, and like in Moe's and everything, or not Moe's, Fast Food Boulevard, it's just classic stuff, and the Kodos and King and Kodos Spinner is just the old stuff with the aliens, but this has new stuff, and I think it was written or created during the writer's strikes. You have the actual Simpson writers, and it's hilarious. Some of this stuff they're really making fun of Universal and Disney and theme parks in general, and it's just it never gets talked about.
That's why I want.
I was gonna say it's probably the best script on any ride at any of the parks. Just the tropes and the things that they say and the digs that they take. It's just a great script.
Yeah, they were definitely theme park fans, I think, creating this.
That's one of the reasons why I want another writer's strike, is because I want to get them to write the Treehouse of Horror version of this, or Treehouse of Horror Halloween Horror Nights House, or something like that. Because, they just need that time off. And that's what they need to do. Also, the last writer's strike brought back the Celebrity Apprentice, and we know how all that went. So maybe I should count my blessings that we haven't had another writer's strike. But yeah, I can totally see why Simpsons... And also, even though they upgrade the projection's not necessarily that great. And it's still kind of herky-jerky, and it reminds me... It's old school Universal. It's just like what they did with Minions and what they did with a bunch of other stuff, where they just take what they already have and put something over it. It's like what they did with... Guardians of the Galaxy at DCA. It's what they did with a bunch of other stuff, like the Epcot, at Imagination for the movie theater. So, anyway, Simpsons.
It also makes people sick too, so that might be another thing against it. Motion sickness,
especially
if you drank a lot at Halloween Horror Nights. The
refurb of this ride did not have the big difference that Spider-Man did. Did not have the TLC, and I don't know what the difference is, whatever cameras or resolution or 4K. But this new Simpsons ride does not change your worldview of it like Spider-Man did when you rewrote that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And just and it's in 3D, like the animation's in 3D, and it just does not look as good as the traditional Simpsons animation. It looks hokey. I don't know. Sorry. Anyway.
But it's not in 3D.
No. I'm saying the animation is 3D, not... It's 3D models. Yeah, it's 3D models. Yeah. Like, if they did it like traditional, hand-drawn animation, how crazy would that be? How good would that be? But, anyway. Simpsons. Derek,
I still like Simpsons.
Yeah.
I cannot believe it made the bad list, but
yeah.
Maybe it shows the state that Universal has so many good rides that by process of default something has to fall at the bottom.
No, there's things that are worse.
I would have said Jimmy Fallon did not make this list. All right, number 3, Jurassic Park Discovery Center.
This is one I can't believe they actually have as an attraction on the list, but there you go.
If Disney can have the carnival games make
Fair point.
This is definitely this is before Hogwarts Castle. When you came into the park, this was your weenie dead ahead of you. Looking perfectly like the Jurassic Park movie, and at the time, we're all still in love with Jurassic Park movie and the Steven Spielberg one. So they did a heck of a job drawing into that area, and they deliver you this little entertainment play area for kids that's just nowhere near the level they did with Camp Jurassic right nearby.
Yeah, I mean, inside is nice. There's some interactive kind of...
acceptable.
There's some, what do I want to say, team member interaction points. There's some actual, I think they can have equity actors in there too to like do some of the stuff with the hatching.
Yeah.
But it's just, there's not much else there. I mean, and there's also the burger place is attached to it. So
yeah,
it kind of exists. And it also, one of the few things in Islands of Adventure before Kong and Forbidden Journey that would be open if it rained in the park. So always remember that.
Not much space. A lot of people head there.
Yeah,
that would not be a fun area to be in. I don't think.
It's like one of those places that is cool to walk in and look around if you have like some extra time to kill or something. Mm-hmm. And like even like to walk out the front door, so it's like nobody walks in front of the Discovery Centers and gets to see that view up towards Port of Entry, and that's an amazing view. But no one ever goes there. And I also feel like a lot of people just don't even go downstairs in the Discovery Center. They just walk in there and see, oh, this is a restaurant. And they turn around and walk out. And there's a lot of meat in there. But I mean, yeah, I get it's not like the best thing, but that might be one of the things that makes it lower rated too. People walk in, see it's a restaurant, and they're like, "Why is this on this list? This is just like it's a restaurant." Low, you know what I mean? So
they should have they should have done it like the Land. They should have put the restaurant on the lower floor and have everything upstairs.
Exactly.
And then you could have the tables all behind the Discovery Center, and you could get that nice view outside.
Yep.
See, I just solved their problem.
That would actually. Think about it. If that was made a sit-down restaurant that had an outdoor area in the front, you could go and you could sit out by that lagoon and eat in the evening, and you had like a full-out, fully themed, like at the end of Jurassic Park when the raptors are coming in and they're shaking with the Jello, but you had a situation like that, like a full restaurant like that down there in the bottom part.
Are you suggesting they serve you Jello and they have one of those butt kickers? When they bring you the check, you can either run into the freezer or pay them.
I've seen Joe in a raptor mask. What if the servers wore raptor masks? How about we compromise and do that?
We could do that.
Can they rap in their raptor mask?
Yeah, he probably can throw down some mean beats.
Yeah,
I think you're right too about the front. No one ever goes in and out that door. It's an awesome area by that lagoon, and there's the same thing as by Marvel Superhero Island, and especially Toon Lagoon. There's this a greatly themed area that no one's ever at, with a lot of details that almost nobody sees, and it's all over that lagoon area, the islands area.
It's one of those areas that's like, can I go out here? Nobody's out here. If I go out here, I'm going to get in trouble for going out here. Well, no, you're going to be fine. But if you're just kind of there, you're like, I don't think I'm supposed to be here. So you turn around and go back. So
Disney would have a bar out there, ASAP. The watering hole would be down there.
They should.
It would be behind the one that they're adding to Tower of Terror, Derek. So it's going to be a little bit
in the gift shop at Tower of Terror.
Yeah, it's going to take them a little bit because they got to build that one first. So,
that's true. All right, ready for number 2?
Let's do
one below 3.
Okay, number 2.
Or 3 out of 5. Sorry, this is the first one on the list that's ranked below 3 out of 5. So below average. Actually, the average would be 2.5 out of 5, right? This is not even that. Number 2 is the 8th voyage of Sinbad stunt show.
Not surprised, but again, I've never seen Sinbad. Like I've never sat through the show.
What? Well, you're not missing anything, but
that's why I've never seen it.
God, so bad. And that old Islands of Adventure special makes it look so good, but it's so bad.
It's pretty cheesy, and it's very loud.
I remember it went through that refurbishment not too long ago, and people were like, "Oh, maybe they're going to rewrite it." And nope, They didn't touch a thing.
Nope. I think they just shut it down for a little while. Let me save money. That refurb made absolutely no sense. Or at least you don't see where the money went.
The old Disney model was shutting it down to save some money.
Stitches. It's non-seasonal.
Yeah, Sinbad. I don't know.
Can we just be amazed that it's not the lowest rated attraction?
That's what's surprising to me. It's not the lowest rated attraction, and I'm surprised what is the lowest rated attraction.
I'm shocked and dismayed about the lowest rated attraction. And the only way we'll decide. Okay, number one, Universal Cinematic Spectacular, and I think this has been plagued by Disney fanboys expecting happily ever after Illumination style
World of Color
nighttime spectacular that this was never billed to be. I like this show for what it is. I mean, it wouldn't be my top 6 thing, but it definitely would not even be anywhere near my lowest 6.
No, it's a solid for what the space that Universal has to work in, for the minute that they have to deal with fireworks because of where they're located. It's a pretty good nighttime show. It's not revolutionary and it's not at Disney level, but I'd rather watch that than River of Lights. So,
I mean, considering that this attraction, this fireworks show, you don't have to wait for. Like every single Disney one, you have to get there half an hour early or wait in line or something like that and get your fast pass. This one you just walk up to 2 minutes beforehand, and it's got fireworks, it's got fountains. So that's what's surprising to me is like, it's got everything that people want, but it's just not rating that high at all. So maybe people don't care about waiting in lines. I don't know, but it's just
maybe lines set your expectation up, so you're being part of a thing. Whereas this is like, well, it can't be that good because I didn't have to camp out and put all my bags down for 45 minutes to block spaces.
The sunken cost theory.
But I will admit, Disney does a heck of a job at nighttime spectaculars, and they raised a bar so high that Universal's going to have to completely rethink how to do a nighttime spectacular if they want to be thought on that level, because this is just a scaled down version, and they can have all the excuses they want of they can't really do fireworks and like this. Well, then think of something else that you can do, because you've done it in other creative ways with rides. There's got to be a way you can do it with a nighttime spectacular that just wows people. And this clearly is not wowing people, but it does involve things people like. That the montages of movies are what people love watching during things like the Oscars. That's like one of the best parts of the show. They're showing all these great movies, the best parts of them, was narrated by Morgan Freeman. I mean, it's a really strong show for what it is, and it's just not connecting with a lot of people.
Yeah,
I really wish that it would be updated more than what it's been updated to, because it seems like it would be really easy for them to plug and pull stuff and.
They pulled Battleship out of it pretty fast.
Yeah, they did. And
they can pull stuff out pretty fast if it stinks.
They added Fast and the Furious, and didn't they throw in a Jurassic World clip or two or something like that in there? But it's one of those things that it seems like it would be very easy for them to have a section about their big blockbuster and to have something in there with that they could change out, almost like a pre-parade type situation, but like a pre-show type thing, like. I know that The Mummy wasn't really well received, but you would think like that they would want to use that as like a push. They could have like done something with The Mummy at the beginning of it and then going into the show, but I don't feel like that they really utilize it.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yep.
It's kind of teased like Toy Story Midway Mania. Yeah, it gives us the ability to just put in new games you never see anymore. After Battleship bombed and they quickly changed the show to take that out and add some things in, they just really haven't been keeping up with that. I completely. Every summer, this should be updated with the blockbusters from the Universal family of movies. Despicable Me 3 should be up there. It's going to be $1 billion movie. It's not represented in there.
Nope. So my next question is, what attraction would you add? Would you like to see represented in the top 6 attractions at Universal? And then which one
Rip
do you
Ride
want
Rocket.
Yeah.
Number 1.
And then the next question is...
How many other rides can you pick your soundtrack to? 0.
Good point. And then my next question is, which attraction would you see in the bottom 6? So, Derek, number 1, you want to see Rip Ride Rocket on that list?
Yes.
For best.
I think it's been unfairly... I think this podcast itself has really besmirched Rip Ride Rocket to put a bad taste in people's mouths, so I hope you feel proud about yourselves.
We do.
We are.
What would you put on the bottom list?
That's a tough one. I like a lot of things about it, but I think Doctor Doom would have to go at for me. Even I think the queue is subversive. The fact that it's basically quote unquote killing guests to power the ride. I mean, it's just something you don't see the story in most theme park rides. But I'm not a huge fan of the big towers. Like the Busch Gardens one, Brandon's done it. The Hawk one, whatever it's called, Falcon's Fury. I'll never get on that. It's just not my style of ride. So I don't think Universal could do a better job with something else there.
All hail Dr. Doom.
All hail Dr. Doom. Nick, what would you put on the top 10? I'm top 6, sorry.
I'm torn between two, but I think I would lean more towards Mummy. And my other one would be Men in Black, but I think I lean more towards putting Mummy on there. I like Mummy. I think it's a great ride. It's a solid ride. Stands up really well. I wish they would kind of go in there and edit it and take out like the Brendan Fraser stuff and actually like kind of just make it about the Mummy instead of trying to still tie it to a movie that's how old is that now? Like
the movie that's been
years?
rebooted.
Is it? Well, yeah.
Right there.
Was it like 20 years old now? But I mean, the ride itself still stands up. You can have a mummy ride about a mummy because that works. It's great. But yeah, I think it's time for them to go in there and kind of polish it up a little bit and do some work on it and all that. But it's still a solid ride. But it's great. It's a solid ride. So the Mummies would be the one I would add.
What would you add to the bottom 6?
Shrek. Netflix the experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's fine, but I've never really cared for it, even whenever it wasn't something you could watch on Netflix, and it wasn't like.
Don't compare Shrek to the Pixar DVD showcase at Epcot. Come on. At least there's moving seats in here.
That's what I was going to say. I don't like about it. I don't like the moving seats. It's very like I don't like that. In my theater, I want to be able to watch the movie, not being like looking at the floor, movie, floor, movie, floor, movie, floor, movie, floor, movie. I feel like it. They tried to do a Muppet Vision 3D, and it just didn't work at all with that. So Shrek would be the one I would add to the bottom of the list. Kill it now.
So on my list, for top 6 attractions, I would add Men in Black because I think that's a solid one. It's amazing. The bottom 6 attractions, one I can't believe you guys didn't mention, Fear Factor Live.
It's already gone.
It's gone. Yeah, I don't count stuff like that. I didn't make Dragon Challenge would have made the list. That was ranked in the top 6, but the fact that it was leaving within a couple weeks, I just didn't include it. It's just too close to be gone.
We don't know. We don't know if Fear Factor Live's leaving. It's just gone for Bill and Ted right now. So
it's gone.
It's gone.
Our prayers worked. Our prayers as a nation worked.
Well, then my backup would probably be. Let me think.
Getting rid of Fear Factor Live is the only thing Trump has accomplished as a president.
Oh god. Oh man. Then I would add. I probably would also add Shrek to the bottom 6 attractions.
Oh, come on.
So I don't know.
We're going to see how Nick feels about this ride in about 3 years when his daughter says it's one of her 3 best rides.
See, we're not going in there.
Yeah,
she's been given up for adoption.
No, like okay. So one of the other things too about like Shrek, my wife, she has a back issue that happened with her grandmother when she was ill and like shifting her around in her bed and stuff like that. She can't do the moving seats on there because it aggravates that injury. I'm like, it should be a movie. We can go in there and just like have a passive experience. You can't even do that in there because the way it is rough. It's just. Shrek.
Wait till you see a movie in 4DX. That just is unbelievable. Even seeing Beauty and the Beast, which I saw it in, you are moving every time the camera changes. You're moving in that seat. I just can't comprehend what a movie would be like for a Fast and Furious or an action movie. It just like you'd just be tossed out of it. It's all I can imagine.
I saw what Kyle from View from the Cheap Seats said on his channel when they went and saw. I think they saw The Mummy in the 4DX theater thing, and he said that it was almost too much, or maybe it was Guardians. I think that they went and saw. He said it was too much. It like detracted from the movie. You couldn't enjoy the movie for all the craziness. So
I would agree with that. It's something I want to really like, but there's too much gaga going on.
Well, it is one way to keep people from taking up their cell phones. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's still probably broken.
Yeah,
they don't even warn you before the movie starts. There's like a preview that kind of explains what happens with the chairs, and they do it in the form of a thrill, like a short film, like a bank heist or something like that. And if I was holding a drink, it would have been on the floor because they don't tell you it's coming, and all of a sudden the chairs just fly all around. And it's just because they sell beers at these theaters now.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine how much they get complaints from people who spill their popcorn or their drinks because these chairs, they really throw you. It's not. We think the theme park ones are fast. They're nothing.
Yeah.
It's like Flight of Passage where you feel like your glasses are about to fall off as soon as it starts. And you're like, oh, crap.
All right. So you guys want to talk some Halloween Horror Nights?
I do.
Derek, do you want to join us for some Halloween Horror Nights, or do you want to...
We'll do. We'll talk about all the IPs I hate.
Cool. Let's start off with all the IPs we hate. It's coming to Universal Orlando. Actually, I think we covered Ash vs. Evil Dead last time. So I don't know. Yeah.
Bruce Campbell's awesome.
Yeah. So the next house announcement was Saw: The Games of Jigsaw. In this all-new maze, we'll come face-to-face with work of master craftsman Jigsaw and a collection of his most infamous traps from the Saw film series. And this is going to be the part of the episode where I insert the my brother and me situation where they're talking about the worst thing to find out your friend is working for is not the police, but your friend is actually Jigsaw.
Yeah,
so it's so I'm going to insert that about right here.
Of all the jobs that it would be hard to find out your friend does, I think like them banging on your door and arresting you, that's really rough. But I think a rougher one would be if you found out your friend was Jigsaw. Because that would be very unfortunate to wake up and you're like, your butt has been manacled to someone else's butt. And he's like, tear your own butts off if you want to live. Yes. And also, Greg, it's so nice to see you.
Justin, just to clarify, you think the profession of cop is definitely hard, but much more difficult is the profession of serial killer.
I'm saying it's hard to find out that your friend has been Jigsaw the whole time. I'm saying that would be very shocking.
And that is an unfair association, Travis. Jigsaw's not just a serial killer. He also, it takes a lot of work to make all those bone mazes and stuff. It's a lot of work.
Pick up the bandsaw you find at your I bought you this.
I bought you this bandsaw.
I bought you this for your birthday.
Wait, no, this is my fucking bandsaw. I let you borrow it.
Hey, yeah, wait a minute. This is my... You can have it back afterwards.
You'll have to find the key. You gave me your spare keys.
Oh, shit, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, fill up this bucket with your own butt meat. No, and it'll raise the portcullis. I don't want to raise the portcullis.
Is this your den?
It is. It is.
I love what you've done.
Am I still going to see you for barbecue on Thursday? Yes, fine. Wait,
yes.
So we'd come.
And welcome back.
I don't. What is that referencing?
It's a great little skit thing. It's pretty good stuff.
It's another podcast, but it's a comedy podcast where they answer questions, but they don't answer questions. Is the best way to put it. So they're an advice podcast that doesn't give actual advice. Is the best way to put it. So anyway, it's really funny, but yeah, Jigsaw, yay or something. I don't know.
I like the Saw franchise. I think it started off awesome. I think I really don't like horror films, and I really like the first Saw. And then it just got so crazy that if you watch one of the last Saw films where they try to retcon everything and say it was like some master plan when it clearly wasn't, it's just so bananas that you can't help but admire it. I mean, you got to give applause to the person that thought they could take like 5 different movies written by a bunch of different people who never even considered what it went before them and try to tie them in a way that's completely opposite of what Fast and Furious did. You got to give them a standing ovation. They outdid themselves on campiness.
Yeah. This is going to be in the Shrek Theater, where last year it was Krampus. 2 years ago it was Alice. Yeah, Alice. Yeah, that one. So, yeah. Saw. I don't know what else to say about it. It exists. It's a thing.
It'll be popular.
It'll be popular.
Are you?
Yeah.
Hold on. Which one of us is? I mean, because I don't know. You're more connected probably to pop culture in this horror genre. I think Saw connects with an average person in a way that a lot of things don't. I think it's a cool character design for whatever the Saw character's name is. And I just think
Billy or something?
The first movie was so good with Cary Elwes that I think a lot of people still have a good taste in their mouth because they just didn't go see the sequels that were unwatchable. So I think a lot of people will like Saw.
I think this is the second highest property at the event. Even though I think The Shining is way better, I would say that people more identify with Saw just because of how recent it was. and then American Horror Story, Saw, The Shining, Ash vs. Evil Dead, and then whatever the Bloomfield house is going to be. So, but we haven't gotten to that point yet.
Right.
Which perfectly segues into Horrors of Blumhouse, Blumhouse. For some reason, I keep spelling with 2 O's. Blum, B-L-U-M house. It's going to be The Sinister, Insidious, and The Purge. Reportedly, The Purge is going to be like a good half of this maze, which is ridiculous, I think, because they have a whole scare zone. This is also going to be where...
Is Blumhouse like imagination for cartoons, like just a brand? I didn't even understand it when I just saw the announcement, because I guess I'm not connected in the horror genre. But that seems weird if you'd have like a imagination ride or illumination ride where it's part Despicable Me, part Secret Life of Pets, and part whatever movie they just made. That seems odd to do that in one house.
Like the Hanna-Barbera attraction they used to have?
Yeah.
Basically what this, or the Nick one even. Blumhouse is a production company. And they basically buy a bunch of, they do really cheap horror films, but not like cheap horror films, but they're on a budget, and they just crank them out, and they take high risks with them. So they pay off. Like, these are the guys who did Purge, Sinister, all that stuff.
Joe, wouldn't that be low risk if they're low budget?
Yeah, you're right. Sorry. Low budget, low risk.
Hoping for high reward.
High reward. Thank you very much. Low budget, low risk movies, hoping for high reward. They just kind of, and also what they're really famous for is giving all their creators a lot of control of the characters. So Shyamalan went there and did Splinter was his last movie?
Split.
Yeah, Split. He did Split there. He's going to do his next movie with Blumhouse. Kyle, I think, was it Kyle from Kyle and Pele? He did Get Out, and Get Out was through Blumhouse. So it's that kind
Kyle
of...
and Pele? That wasn't the name of the show. Kyle and Peel, wasn't it?
Peel.
Did you think...
Peel.
Which one of us... Is it Pele or Peel? It can't be Pele.
Maybe it's Peel. I don't remember. I just remember it's spelled weird. It's not Peel.
Which one of us is the millennial? Which one of us is the millennial? I thought it was... Oh, my God. You're driving... Oh, Joe. I
can't pronounce words, so what are you surprised about?
Kyle and Pele. I thought it was Key and Peel. I think you got both names wrong.
Probably.
Why are you... I zoned out for a minute. Did you say anything important?
No, we didn't.
That was a good movie. I'd like to see a house based on Get Out. That'd be a cool house to make. They're very creepy.
Yep. So the next houses we had are announced today. We have all the originals.
Did y'all talk about Insidious?
Yeah,
that was a bad house.
Insidious was a good house, sir.
It was a bad house. Terrible.
It was. They're all good houses, Brent.
It was a boring house.
They're all good houses, Brent.
Dude had bugles on his fingers trying to scare me.
Hey, he got me once. I was like, no one ever jumps out of this, and he just jumped out and scared me, and he got me real good. So
he had bugles on his fingers, dude. That was not scary.
Bagel with cheese, cream cheese.
Well,
so
no, the spray cheese in a can, man, on the bugles.
No,
the fake cheese.
No, I'm talking about the guy's name is Bagul, and the joke
is it?
Yeah, the joke is Bagul with cream cheese. So, because like bagel with cream cheese, get it? Never mind.
I don't think we should trust your opinion on names from this point on, Joe.
Good point. I think that's perfectly fine. So, 4 original houses were announced today.
They look so good.
First house, Scarecrow the Reaping, takes inspiration from the Dust Bowl era, centered around an abandoned, drought-ravaged farmhouse haunted by evil scarecrows.
Yes.
This sounds cool. It sounds really cool. I'm excited about this one. So, yeah. The next one is The Fallen. Features a classic battle of good versus evil, with winged creatures raging battle against mortals in a cathedral. The house is expected to feature a lot of stunt scares, such as jumping and flying. Also, I'm reading all this from InsideUniversal.net, so just want to give them a shout-out. So that's The Fallen. Yeah, so that's The Fallen.
They're awesome.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about The Fallen quite yet. It just seems kind of too generic, but I could see it working really well. So, what do you
sounds neat. Those flying scares, whatever, the people on the ropes, those are some of the neatest things at all the jump scares for me. It's just awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that part. I think I'm looking more forward to the Scarecrow house than any of the other ones, but yeah, I think The Fallen will be cool. It's not my bottom of the originals, but it's probably like the third most anticipated house I have on this list. So, yeah. of all the houses that they have this year. Which I think all 4 of the originals sound better than the IP houses anyway. So
I don't disagree. Next up is Hive. Features ferocious vampires inspired by Nosferatu. Horror Nights creators took inspiration from 1980s horror movies for Hive.
yes.
So I don't know how I feel about this one yet. I don't know yet.
Yeah.
So I'm going to back away.
I'm off the vampire kick. I need a break from vampires.
I think it's the bottom of the originals, but I still put it higher than any of the IPs.
Okay.
It'd be right there with
Then The Shining? Are you crazy?
I'm not big on The Shining.
I'm really
so
looking forward
I'm
to
like,
The Shining. So.
I'm just not big on it, so I'm just not like really, over the moon about it. But
Okay.
whatever.
So, last but not least, my number one the number one house I'm looking forward to the most, there we go, that's English, is Dead Waters. It's a sequel to Blood Bayou, a Scary Zone feature in Halloween Horror Nights 24. Expanding upon the characters and stories, the house sees the return of Voodoo Queen as guests enter her realm in the Bayou. This is the one that was written up today in USA Today that my dad texted me about, and he said this looks awesome. This has the giant
Was the
paddle wheel
Voodoo
and
Queen
everything.
the storyline they had to cut from 1824 or whatever it was? 'Cause
Yeah.
the
Yep.
sacrifice, whatever it was.
Exactly. So that's what they cut. So, yeah, this is going to be cool.
Cool.
I'm really excited
Yeah, I
about
like
this
the
one.
Cajun anything.
Yep.
Busch Gardens Howl's Scream does an awesome Blood Bayou or Bayou of Blood or whatever it is. It's awesome. Every time they do it, it's just fantastic.
I like Cajun. I like Cajun food. Everything's delicious.
Yeah, and nothing's creepier than Louisiana. Sorry, Parkscope Mike, but it's
Yeah.
just the truth. None of us would want to be stuck in Louisiana at night. I'll be anywhere else in the podcast universe. Louisiana? No, I'll just die of scabies.
It's just like you just hear banjos and you're like, I'm out. Get me out. I'm going.
Making his own moonshine. Even the lawyers are making moonshine in their basement. Who knows what the weirdos are in the cabin?
Oh man. So next up is the scare zones, which I'm trying to pull up right now because some odd reason I did not pull up the scare zone list.
Trick or treat. I know that's one.
Yes. So yeah, let's start off with Trick or Treat. That's going to be in the New York Central Park area.
It's gonna be fun.
I think it's going to be fun. That's going to be cool.
I'm just kind of hoping that Sam's actually like wandering around instead of just having those statues of him. I hope like there's actually like, but then at the same time, I'm afraid that that's going to take away from it because everybody's going to be trying to take a selfie with him. So,
Yep. The Trick or Treat Scare Zone write up is break the rules, pay the price. That's the murderous moral of the 5 twisted stories in Trick or Treat, a darkly hilarious tribute to Halloween. So, yeah, Trick or Treat.
Thumbs up. 4 out of 5 chainsaws.
Yes. Next one is The Purge. It's going to be in New York. The Purge has returned in Halloween Horror Nights and overrun New York. No one is safe. Be part of a proud American tradition. United we purge. So
Have you guys seen the Purge sequels or sequel? I don't know if there's been. I've seen one.
I
I
haven't.
saw the election one.
That's when I saw. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't. Well, it was like the Congresswoman or something like that. That they were trying to.
I liked
protect
it.
or something. Yeah, that's
I like
good.
the guy. The guy was Crossbones in the Marvel universe. So Frank Grillo,
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of his. So I like him being the star of some films. So
It wasn't-
I think the Purge universe is a great universe. It's a great concept and idea. Unfortunately, our world's turning into it, so it's not even a horror film anymore. It's more of a documentary. But it was something I was into at the time. Now I'm unfortunately living in that world. I don't know if I need to see it on the movies anymore.
It's not. I wouldn't really call it horror, but it's like
a
the
thriller.
movies. Like, yeah. And then I feel like we've got too much Purge this year, but we'll see.
Way too much Purge. Next up is Festival of the Deadliest. The dead are throwing a hell of a Hollywood party, and you're invited. Your spirit will fuel the frenzy of this ghoulish gathering. Man, I can't pronounce anything today. So, Festival of the Deadliest is going to be in the Hollywood Zone. This is going to be an interesting one. Also, because this is also the main, I wouldn't call them icons, but sort of the design aesthetic for all the logos this year is based around this. Kind of the Day of the Dead situation going on. So I'm excited for this one. What are you guys' thoughts?
Yeah.
Meh?
Yeah.
Is this like an anniversary or some major year in the Day of the Dead Mexican type universe? Because I mean, you got Coco coming out from Pixar. I'm just imagining there's a big tie-in with Day of the Dead this year. Is there something just going on in the world that I'm not aware of?
I just think it's coincidental.
I don't know.
Okay.
Next up, Altars of Horror. Enter the Nexus of Evil, where all the most fearsome characters and nefarious creatures from each of Halloween Horror Nights' haunted houses lie in wait. So basically, this is the selfie scare zone, and this is going to be right up front between Minions and Shrek. So this is going to be they're going to have the stages up there. They're going to have some guys in the streets. They'll have some generic characters scaring people, and I bet you they just saw how many people like took selfies with Chance last year, and they just were like, okay, let's just do that. So they're going to do that.
Yeah. What would you guys think if they pulled a page from Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party and just made 6 to 10 dedicated meet and greets with characters, people, like a Jack meet and greet? And if you want this, you got to just wait in line and get out of the big congested area. So I think you'd help people get what they want with pictures, and you'd also help your throughput instead of people clogging it up. I think that might solve some problems for them.
I think.
I think it wouldn't eliminate the problem either, because people still have their cell phones. People are still going to try to take those selfies.
Yeah.
So,
I think.
Go ahead, Joe.
I think a meet and greet would be great. The only thing is we have to change the name. So I'm thinking like a slash and run would be a funny.
That'd be cool.
Like
how about meet and greet with meet MEAT?
Yeah.
Instead of a slash and run, what about like use flash because of the camera? But then you might, I don't know.
Then people pull up their
flash.
That came to me as I was saying it, so I was like,
Yeah, so I think it would be a much better idea if they did a meet and greet area, but you know where would be a great place for it? Where?
Like if you could fence off that area in front of Blue Man Group and just have like some characters there and just have people just going over there, taking their pictures and coming back into the park.
You could have cool backgrounds and everything. You could really do it up bright.
Or where the repository was, because that was not good.
I mean, you could do it right. Where could you do it in the park? I'm trying to think. Like, there's just a bunch of places you could put it. You could put it in horror makeup and have like different like segments of that.
That's
pre-show.
A small space.
Yeah, but you can have the queue outside.
T2 would be enough space.
Maybe.
Or Animal Actors won't last long, but that would be a good spot for it. Just down there on the stage of Animal Actors.
Yep. So, last but not least, the number one scare zone I'm looking forward to is Invasion. This one's going to be in San Francisco.
Yeah.
The year is 1955, and a UFO has crashed into the wharf. Their goal, to conduct experiments upon you to prepare to invade Earth. So this one looks awesome.
It's a dumb placement.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
that's always a poor scare zone location. It's gotten better since they don't have people dumping out there anymore. But man,
this should be in New York, and there should not be a purge.
It's where they seem to put their number one most anticipated scare zone, which is odd. Every single year, that's like the one you want to go to.
It is
Invasion
odd.
Or remember, one year maybe you didn't want to do it, but that was the Walking Dead one. I mean, most people wanted to do it, and that's where they put it for the Swarm. It's just I don't know. Maybe there's just somebody inside Universal who's a plant from Disney who's like, here's how we'll get them.
Invasion should be in New York, and the Purge should be like a roaming horde type of situation.
I like that idea. The Purge is a roaming horde. I like that.
With and you could use the Chainsaw Gang as another roaming horde and have them as the Purge characters as a roaming horde, and just don't worry about having a scare zone there in San Francisco right now, because with all that construction and all that craziness, it's not a good spot for it. Just make all of New York the alien invasion. That would be awesome.
Okay,
that would be cool.
Yeah. Next up is the shows. Academy of Villains is returning. So we're not fans, but I know some of you guys out there are. So more power to them. I mean, it was inoffensive. It just like there was parts that made no sense, and I just felt like they were just doing
like the
things.
Quizno sign.
Yeah, like there's signs.
Did you like it better than the Magicians from 3 years ago, before the Jack show?
I never saw the Magicians.
I didn't do the Magician, so I mean the what was the part with the screen where they were dancing behind it? It was like the shadows. That was cool.
Yeah.
Everything else I could do without. But I mean, if people like it, people like it. It wasn't for me.
Yeah, it's not my jam. I understand it. I think it's, I don't think it's really that Halloween Horror Nightsy. It's adult, I guess. Maybe all you need for Halloween Horror Nights. It needs to be adult. I don't know. But to close out our talk of the shows, after 26 years of excellent Halloween adventures, Bill and Ted are bringing their Firewell tour to Halloween Horror Nights. This is going to be the last year for Bill and Ted's excellent Halloween adventure.
Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
That's my answer to that. That's just ridiculous.
To get rid of it?
To get rid of it, yeah.
Yeah.
For me, that's my number one draw to Halloween Horror Nights. It's inexplicable to me why they would do that.
You're not the first person to say that to me, so I totally understand. I'm torn on why they're removing it. I mean, if they wanted to do it and they're getting rid of the Fear Factor Live area, there's plenty of other places to put Bill and Ted. It just sounds like, I don't know, maybe they're realizing that more and more people are recording this and it's going to get out and people are going to see it and, you know, they don't want to do politics anymore or they don't want to run into legal issues. And plus, like, this is the last year of the license. Like, they licensed Bill and Ted.
The rare 26-year contract.
Yeah. Actually, they extended it, like,
seriously, though, how much
something.
licensing fee can Bill and Ted be? I mean, the brand has almost no connection outside of Halloween Horror Nights.
It's probably, like, maybe, like $1,000 a day or something. It can't be that much money.
Most IP owners like money. I mean, in the wrestling world, we don't talk about this much, but I'm going to do it for here, so we do an E-Tick report. There's a Gary Hart book. He was a manager in Texas area all around. And his book is like one of the most famous wrestling books. People want it. The author of that book will not let it be reprinted, and nobody knows why. And it just doesn't make any sense. It's like it would be an instant seller. He will not authorize it. And it just makes no sense sometimes when there's just money to be made. Everyone loves it. I mean, the reviews are off the chart. The same thing with Bill and Ted. And you're just ending it. And I don't see why, unless they have an ace up their sleeve. We got this great idea that we can't do because everyone's going to go to Bill and Ted, and we can finally do it. I don't think that's the case, but that would be the only justification for me because Bill and Ted is my number one. If I were to list down my 6 reasons for why I like going to Halloween Horror every year, Bill and Ted's number one every single year.
Okay, Nick, what are your thoughts?
I just think that it's becoming a liability with the way our culture is right now, with the way people get on social media and they get on, a soapbox and everybody and people gravitate towards that and latch hold to something. And, Bill and Ted makes its money off of being a little bit offensive in some ways on some things. And, you look at what happened in Hollywood a few years ago and why it's not there anymore. And you have to ask yourself, do you want that liability or do you not? And I think that Universal asked themselves that, and they don't want that liability anymore, so they're giving them a final send-off, and that's that. But I'm sad. I like Bill and Ted's. It's not my main draw for Halloween Horror Nights. It's not something that I'm really gonna boo-hoo about, but I'm sad to see it go. I like it. I like what they do. So
yeah, I really like Bill and Ted. Even when they have a bad year like last year, it's still fun to see and hang out with and hang with friends and talk about it. I'm going to be sad to see it go. It's a tradition, and it sucks to see traditions go no matter how good or bad they are. But I've always liked Bill and Ted, so it sucks. Hopefully they have something similar planned. Maybe not necessarily the exact same idea, but seeing something closer to that idea would be pretty awesome. But
next year, Mickey's Not So Scary overtakes Halloween Horror Nights on my list.
Yeah.
Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, I mean, Hocus Pocus is sort of that. Let's not forget.
People love Hocus Pocus. That's Disney's. Okay, we'll bring this back. People seem to really connect with. I've never seen the movie, but people seem to like it.
What was it that they were saying on the Catacombs on the Catacombs podcast? They said that Jay and Silent Bob would be a good replacement for Bill and Ted.
That's a great way to be even more
just
irrelevant.
do a Kevin Smith and keep people in the theater for 3 hours.
Exactly.
I think it's a sad state of America because I've been into a lot of Halloween Horror Nights houses and kids who I don't think should be anywhere near the event who look like they're terrorized and I'm calling them bad parents. They should not be there. That stuff can keep going on, but you're taking away a comedy because people might be offended. It seems our priorities are out of whack on what people should be suggested to. That if you joke about something, you can be held accountable. But if you kill somebody or fake like you're killing somebody or try to scare somebody to death, that's perfectly acceptable. That's fine.
Well, we're now diving deeper into American political statements where, death and violence is more acceptable than sex and jokes, but let's not go that far. But yeah, I understand.
Not with a Georgia person.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
Yeah. So, guys, what we're going to do now, do you have anything else you want to say about Halloween Horror Nights? I guess my next question.
It's dead to me now.
Halloween Horror Nights 28? What? No.
I'm really looking forward to the originals. I'm not looking forward to the IPs, though. So I feel like that this year's IPs are kind of... I think The Shining and American Horror Story are good, but everything else I'm just kind of like indifferent to. So, but the originals sound amazing. So
No Walking Dead this year.
I was so hoping that the icon was going to be that they were going to bring back Fear and they were going to have Fear of the Walking Dead, and it was just going to be like everybody was going to groan.
Well, let's see the gate go down, and all of a sudden the Walking Dead quickly rushed back. Halloween Horror Nights 29.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say, Derek? Or you good?
I'm good.
Cool. So what we're going to do now is we're going to throw it over to about 2 weeks ago. Andrew Hyde and myself talked about the Cedar Fair announcements. We're going to go do that right now. But first, Nick, where can we find you online at?
It's Parkscope Nick on the Twitter.
Cool. Derek, where can we find all of your various media offerings?
I do have one more note. The show title needs to be Kyle and Pele. Let's write that one down. Get the pen out.
Oh, God.
Kyle and Pele.
Pele.
You can find me every week on the 20 Plans blog with the Saturday 6, and every month with the Magic the Memories and Merch, the Disney Outlet Store photo report. You can find me on the Twitter machine at Derek Burgan, DerekBurgan, and I'm on the most productive podcast on the internet right now in the theme park universe with the E-Ticket Report. And nowhere else do people have the courage to vacuum and eat during the podcast like we do.
That is fact. That is very much fact.
Shout out to Wakefield. Although we do have Michael who likes to like file and like build tables and stuff while we're on. So
yeah, they don't understand the mute feature, which is very nice in Skype. So whatever. Anyway. We're going to throw over right now.
Really quick. I thought that Derek was going to say that you can find me every week on the E-Ticket Report, and I was just going to laugh. But
it was.
Let's see how many E-Ticket Reports came out this month compared to Parkscope podcasts.
Yeah.
Hey, right?
Hey, I think they had more.
They don't count. He's actually productive.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to do a throwaway right now, and then we'll see everyone on the other side. Okay, cool. Welcome, everyone, to the Parkscope Unprofessional Podcast Hour. We are currently on August 16th, so I think we may actually package this with another episode where we talk about other stuff, but I just want to get that date down, so if something blows up, we'll know. You get the idea. Anyway, joining me tonight, or right now for this segment, let's say segment. Joining me for this segment is Andrew Hyde. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. We were just talking before we jumped on. It's been a busy last few days. I feel like everyone's been talking and stuff has been going crazy. In the theme park world, I should preface that, but in the theme park world. In the world too, but in the theme park world.
Yeah. Oh, God. It just feels like every day is like a marathon, it feels like nowadays. So, we probably already talked about Bill and Ted ending, which is nuts. Understandable, but nuts. And also the Saw House coming to Halloween Horror Nights, and of course, Great Movie Ride and the Universal Energy closed. So it's been a crazy time.
And at the rate things are going, by the time this gets bundled with something else, there'll probably be 2 or 3 other closings and a couple more announcements. I mean, who knows? I wake up every day to fire up Twitter, and it's always a surprise. Yeah,
Disneyland Paris will be closed by the time we post this. I don't know. They're reopening Hard Rock Park. Why not?
SeaWorld gets sold to Disney. It'll all happen.
SeaWorld gets sold to like Marlboro or something like that. I don't know. It's the orcas will start smoking. It's just, I don't know. Anyway, happy Rum Day, Andrew, by the way.
Oh, it's Rum Day. Nice.
Yes, it's National Rum Day. Again, thank you for my Hippopoto Mai Tai mug.
Yes, absolutely.
After I shattered mine.
That's a heavy beast of a thing too. No, thanks for the recommendations on the drinks. I gotta go back. I mean, I can't believe I live like 5 miles away and I've only been once.
Well, the problem
I need
with
to go.
the problem with Trader Sam's is like you have to deal with the Polynesian security.
Yeah, and which I think that was our biggest turnoff is we went and they're like, nope, you got Park in Magic Kingdom, and I don't have a Disney pass right now. Luckily, we were with the group that did, so we went and parked in Magic Kingdom. But otherwise, like we just show up and they say that we're just turning around and coming back home. So
Yeah, it was
which
just
is kind of crap. So
they really don't want like anyone at that resort.
no.
But yeah, no, there's one in downtown Orlando. That's a tiki bar I know. I forget the name off the top of my head. But
Yeah,
look that up.
I went there once, but it's one of those things that it's interesting because during like I don't want to say day because it's obviously not open during the day, but in like the evening hours it has a little bit more of a tiki feel, and then there's a whole cluster of bars there on Wall Street that I think come like 11 o'clock or so they do where they like barricade it off and they do like a cover for all those, and it just becomes like a total drunken so you lose a little bit of the tiki vibe, and it's more you just roam from bar to bar and like big dance parties. So I think I've never been there before it turned into crazy just drunk fest. So yeah, I gotta go there one of these times and hit it up around like 8 o'clock at night when it's still like tiki-ish.
Yeah, and of course when you come up to Cleveland,
I know,
you gotta go to Porco.
And I think
best. It's really the best. It's that good. It's
I know
really...
which is how long has that been around for? A while, because I don't remember hearing about that when I lived in Cleveland.
About 4 years old.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
It's only been like really well known for the past 2.5 to 3 years.
Gotcha.
Because it started out as like a regular bar where they had like some tiki stuff and like a draft system, and then they ripped the draft system out. They put a whole new bar in, and that's when it started expanding, and it like really became like the first time I knew Porco was something was like maybe 2 years ago when I went with Parkscope Jeff, and we get there, we walk in, and there's people all the way from the bar to the back of the place. And they were all running around confused and didn't know what's going on. Now they have bouncers, they have doors outside. It's a huge thing, so they know what they're doing now. So like it's an actual legit thing where they have like people, they have like reserved signs and people seating people, and it's a thing now. They have real menus. It's a good time. Anyway,
that's awesome. I think based on some stuff that happened today, again August 16th, I think I definitely will be visiting Cleveland next year.
Yeah. Well, by the way, if you need a place to crash, also Porco, also Mabel's, another great location that Alan went to with me, which is the best barbecue I ever had in my life. So,
oh, nice,
Michael Simon barbecue. Yeah,
but if I can time it with the Indians game, that would be like the trifecta for me. I love Jacobs Field, whatever they call it these days. But
it's Jacobs Field. It's Jacobs Field. Always Jacobs Field. That's number one. You're an Indians fan if you call it Jacobs Field. If you call it the Prague, it's just like GTFO. It's like calling,
what is it? Is it like Prague Rock? Like it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, exactly. Like I could see like saying Progressive Field to someone new, but it'll always be the Jake.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of one of those situations where, like, if someone's talking about Doctor Who, if they type in dr.who, you're like, okay, go away. I don't need to listen to you. So it's like the same thing. It's like, I went to the Prague. It's like, just go over there. Anyway, right now I have a PLX from Mucky Duck Brewing in Akron, Ohio. I actually went here. They have a really cool thing in Akron where you can get a passport similar to the ones that you get. There we go. Around the World Showcase, and you go to the different breweries.
Nice.
In Akron, and you get a stamp, and this is one of the first ones I went to with my sister and her boyfriend.
I believe Jacksonville has something similar. Jacksonville is pretty much a hotbed for craft beer around here. Mm-hmm. And then Tampa has something I want to try. They have like one of those little short school buses, and you can do a short bus tour. Yeah, and you just get in there, and they take you around to all the breweries around St. Pete, and you get stamps and all that kind of stuff too. So I got to do that one of these days.
Yeah, this past year, Who Farted was at the Cigar City, whatever they do every year.
Yeah, the Hanapu Day.
Yeah, so they were there, so you missed that. I think they had Conky Dong down there too, so you missed
nice.
Really good beers. Anyway, enough about beer and tiki. Let's talk about some roller coasters / amusement park, shall we?
Absolutely. There's a few things to talk about.
There are several things to talk about. I think the first thing we need to talk about is poor Michigan's Adventure.
I was waiting all day for that to come out. I even checked their a couple times during the day. I was like, oh, maybe it just is getting overshot. Let me just check their Twitter, see if they announced like bumper cars or something. Nope, they haven't even tweeted in the last like month.
Oh my god! I went to Michigan's Adventure with Alan and his wife, and I went there, and it's just they have the attendance to do something.
They do.
They have that. It's there. It's like it's just I don't know what to say besides lack of like foresight, like too much debt, just not enough room, local ordinances. I don't know what to say. It's an absolute abject nightmare because like there's no food, there's no drink.
No.
We went to like their beer patio. They had like 3 beers and some poor dude trying to like use a hot dog bun as a hot dog bun. Like you get the 8 packs of hot dog buns. Like trying to use like the 8-pack plastic holder as like a plastic glove to put hot dogs into stuff. It's just like, what are you? You're Cedar Fair. What are you doing?
Yeah, it's interesting. They were supposed to have a hyper coaster that was in the works before Cedar Fair bought them, and then that kind of just went to the wayside. I never know what quite happened there. But that would have been kind of interesting. I have to think, it's one of those things where Park probably makes enough money, it keeps doing its thing, and they figured we don't want to take anything away from our flagships, Cedar Point and Kings Island, so just keep doing its thing. Yeah,
but I mean, putting in something new doesn't hurt.
I was actually thinking they might get the Knott's Boomerang. I was a little surprised we didn't get that announcement. Maybe we'll still get it. That would be great. Maybe we'll still get it. I need so no one.
Do you want to say that again because you were breaking up, and I'm going to mark this down for a thing. Make sure Skype's. Make sure Skype's the front window because things are acting up on everyone's end.
Let me exit out a few programs here. I thought I exited out most of them, but maybe I have too many internet browsers open.
I'm making sure everything I'm doing is paused. Also, I'm writing down the time code so I know what's going on.
Is that a little bit better?
Talk a little bit more.
Okay, how's this? Are we doing better? Sounding good? Michigan Adventures? Crap, no?
Oh, I know what I need to probably do. Hold on. Okay. So my phone's been acting up, and I'm writing a note about this real quick. End at 9, start at... So my phone's been acting up, so I just took it off Wi-Fi, so that should help. Everything's fried on it, so...
Gotcha.
Cool. So, you want to talk about Michigan's Adventure again?
Yeah, so, I was half surprised we didn't hear the Boomerang announcement for Michigan Adventures. I was kind of thinking we'd actually get the Boomerang, and, when you look at Cedar Point, never had a Boomerang. People in Michigan... I know everyone's out there is probably like, oh, Boomerang, why? But people in Michigan don't know what a Boomerang is, and they probably think it's kind of neat.
Yeah, and it's a new coaster. It's an inverted coaster. Well, not inverted, but there's inversions on the coaster.
Yep.
It's new. Again, hey, it's new to me.
Exactly.
And again, you're adding a capacity unless you take something away. So, I mean, what was the last coaster they got? They got that SLC, I think.
Yeah, and that was the relocation from Jaga Lake. That was maybe like 2008, 9, something like that.
That's rough. That's real rough. So nothing from Michigan's Adventure. Nothing at Kings Island.
No, which is a little surprising. There's been some rumors about antique cars and stuff like that. I was kind of thinking we might see something small there, but maybe they're just going all out for Winterfest this year. Maybe we'll see their announcement next year.
So they have Winterfest again this year, right?
Yeah, Winterfest was announced last year for this year. So,
yeah.
So maybe that's, and I think right now they're going so like they're having one of their best years ever. I think I heard, and with Winterfest coming up, it might be one of those strategic decisions just to be like, hey, let's not rock the boat of how good we're doing right now and just wait till January to announce anything big or small. It'll be small, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. So they have that going on. Weren't they last year? They suggested they were going to announce a medium-sized attraction, or was that Winterfest? Because when they did the Mystic Timbers,
Yeah, I think that was Winterfest because they announced Winterfest like a month later. So
okay, because I thought everyone was like, oh my god, we're going to Dark Ride or something. And
yeah, I still think like there could be like there's some rumors about antique cars or something like that. I haven't paid too close attention, but like I said, I wouldn't be surprised to maybe see a small ride get announced come January. Just again, it's one of those things. You're riding high, everything's going right for your season. Why rock the boat by saying, "Hey, we're doing something next year"?
Because Kings Island got rid of their antique cars when they put in Stunt Job, right?
Yeah, a while
Time
ago.
Job or Stunt Coaster, yeah.
Yeah, whatever they're calling it these days. So
yeah, so that I think that's a great addition. I mean, I'm always pro
I
antique
love
cars.
I love those rides. I'm a sucker for those.
Yeah, those are always good. And then tonight at 11 p.m. we're getting Knott's announcement.
Yeah, that's awesome. A lot of I'm not going to speculate on too much because by the time you hear this episode, you'll know what it is, and I'll just look foolish. But I'm glad we know it's going to be a roller coaster of some form. I would just probably say it's probably not going to be that big since they haven't teased it. When you look at the 3 other parks that announced coasters today, it was major tease. And Knott's, they posted a photo of a coaster, a drink coaster, like last week. So I don't think we're going to get something too big from Knott's.
I mean, yeah, Cedar Point and King's Dominion have been teasing this thing for 3 months now, and then it's just like, yeah. So, I mean, Knott's needs a big coaster. Although, on the other hand, what's the best way to, like, get people interested in your park? Like, you can go to Disneyland and go to Star Wars Land, or you can come to Knott's and ride this Giga coaster.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely coming. Probably next year. But then again, we're hearing a lot of rumors about Kings Island Giga Coaster for 2019. So
I've heard that too.
So
2019?
2019, okay. Yeah. And then, Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. I mean, 2019 could be the year of the Giga Coaster. I don't know. But yeah, I think Knott's will eventually go Giga. I think they might just be strategically waiting for to time it up with Star Wars.
Yeah, it's just interesting. I'm hearing King's Dominion waiting for Kings Island waiting till 2019 for Giga.
Yeah,
but where would that go?
From what I'm hearing, at least this, and I think Alan and I talked about it on Twitter or something, that it would go on the opposite side of the park. Because right now, if you think about it, like you got Mystic Timbers and Diamondback on one end, you'd be kind of going over by the Banshee area. They own a ton of land going on that way. That used to be like where there was
the safari.
Like a safari. Yeah. And so I think it would go out this old safari kind of path, like down that way behind Great Wolf.
Okay.
So
do you think they'd get rid of Flight Deck?
I don't know. I hope not. I really like that ride. It's a pain to get to. Oh my god, you walk 10,000 steps to get to Flight Deck, but it's pretty neat all the way back there. Good
point. So anyway, let's get to actual announcements, shall we?
Yeah.
So let's start off with Dorney and Worlds of Fun.
Yeah, Dorney with their they announced via a reply to a tweet on Twitter. They sent out a press release, but on Twitter, someone was like, "Hey, what are you getting for this year?" And they're like, "Well, we have the pre-K pass, and we're announced a new restaurant for their water park." Pre-K pass makes sense for all their parks. They said on the earnings call this past month that King's Dominion added it last year, and it did crazy numbers. When you think about it, Dorney's near Hershey and Sesame Place and Dutch Wonderland, so it makes sense for them to kind of try to cater to stuff. But man, Dorney's the park we were just talking about, Michigan Adventures. Dorney's a park that I feel like could use something cool in one of these years.
So what's the pre-K pass? Because I haven't heard about this yet.
So it's, you get into the park, and I'll probably get a little bit of the details wrong, but, generally all theme parks, if you're like a, kid, 0, 1, 2 years old or whatever, you get in free. Pre-K pass allows for like that kindergarten, preschool age guests to get in for free. So it's essentially extending that free for a kid up for a few more years, but there's only a limited number of them available, and you have to kind of go online and like register. So it's basically you can get your 3 to 4 or 5 year old or whatever it is a free season pass if you go online and register, and I believe you have to have a pass as an adult. So it's basically like bring your child for free kind of thing. Okay. You just have to register for it.
And these kids can't like fit on the normal ride, so it's kind of a situation where you don't want to. They're too. like where people want to get an annual pass, but they're saying, well, I don't want to get my kid a pass, and he can't write anything, so I'm just going to skip this year.
Exactly. So now it's like, oh, well, get my kids in for free. Like I said, it's essentially saying instead of 0 to 3, get in for free, 0 through 5. You just have to do a little bit of legwork by signing up. I think you actually have to like present their birth certificate to prove their age or something like that. They do make it where you have to kind of jump through a few hoops to get it. You can't just walk up to a park and be like, my kid's 4 years old, let him in free. But from what they said, it's doing really well at King's Dominion, so it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. And then Worlds of Fun. They're also adding a pre-K pass and a Nordic Chaser, which to me sounds like a Himalaya. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking, someone mentioned this, I forget where, on Twitter or Facebook, somewhere, that it's likely, because they didn't post a photo of it or anything, it's probably very similar to the flying canoes that Canada's Wonderland is getting. And when you read the description, it sounds pretty much like the same ride.
Okay. Interesting. So, do you want to go to Canada?
Yeah, let's go.
Canada's Wonderland. Canada's Wonderland. There we go.
The park was probably the best flat ride collection. Just keeps getting more and more flat rides. I mean, I don't see a problem with. They already have so many great roller coasters that I'd love to see a new roller coaster, but whatever. They kind of cool to see a couple new flat rides. You got that Lumberjack one. I just have to say, like, total Canadian names. If you look at the concept art for flying canoes, I know everyone who's listening is probably like me, like studying the POVs for like Steel Vengeance and whatnot, but go look at the concept art for flying canoes. It's basically like stereotypical Canadian, like what you would think, like a bunch of Canadians in like flannel shirts in a canoe that revolves around on top of the centerpiece of the ride. It's kind of hilarious.
They're so happy. Like all the
they're like, it's what you picture Canadians to be like.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And then Lumberjack is a kind of like the Kennywood inverting arrow
thing.
Yeah. So it's very similar to that. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, but best way to put it is like a suspended, like not in a car version of the inverting ship that's in Roller Coaster Tycoon 2. I think it's the best way to put it. But there's two of them, so they kind of like compete against each other. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Because they kind of go, yeah.
So there's that. At Carowinds, they've added a bunch of coasters recently. I mean, you guys got Fury, you guys got Intimidator, and then now they're going to get Camp Snoopy.
Yeah, and I believe they're also getting a pre-K pass as well, and to go along with the Camp Snoopy.
Nice.
And it looks pretty cool. I mean, it has like a little jungle gym area. I would say their kids area probably could have used a few more things, especially when you think the last few years they've gone big coasters and stuff. It makes sense to go kids stuff. I think it's a good way to round out the park. And if you look at the concept art, it's lightly themed. It's they're not just throwing in your McDonald's ball pit or something. So I think it's a good move. I think it'll round out the park a little bit. In the loop, Kenny, shout out to him. He was like saying on Twitter or something that he's like, he was like, everyone's like, oh, kids area stuff. And he's like, well, I have a kid. This actually might get me to Carowinds. So I think that's how you gotta look at it. I think it's pretty good expansion. It's very similar. Last year, King's Dominion did the Camp Snoopy expansion, similar rise in the pre-K pass, and like I said, they said that had one of their best years ever because of that. So should be a good move for Carowinds.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the same people who grew up on like the Coaster Wars in the late '90s and 2000s now have kids. So
yeah, got to entice them to get back to the park somehow.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, all the rich baby boomers who are retiring now with their Social Security and pensions and all that good stuff, while we have no money. They can take the kids. They can take the grandkids places. So add all these kiddie parks, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man. Okay, next up is Valley Fair. They're adding a Larson Looper, of all things.
Yeah.
They went this is the first of two Six Flags editions, I would say, for Cedar Fair.
Yeah, it's right up there at the front of the park, like it's in their parking lot practically with Steel Venom. Mm-hmm. But looks neat. I think if you ever been to Valley Fair, like that area of the park up front is kind of bland. It clearly was, hey, we want to expand. We don't have room. Let's expand to our parking lot. So it was kind of like felt like a parking lot expansion. So now it seems like they're adding a few more things, and it's actually going to have something to it. So
cool. So I guess the next question is, where do you want to start? Because we have 3 major coasters to talk about.
Let's go backwards in the announcement day, because I think Great America. I know you guys talked about Wonder Woman a little bit on the previous show, so I think what's been said for that can kind of be copied and pasted here, since the ride's a similar, pretty much a clone, I think, mirrored image. But California Great America, Railblazer.
Mm-hmm. So it's going to be a Raptor RMC coaster. This is the one that is similar to the Wonder Woman Lasso of Truth, was it?
Yeah, Golden Lasso.
Oh, Golden Lasso, thank you.
Yeah, the really long name. Yeah.
Golden Lasso, this is the individual file seating.
Yes.
The one where we rightfully criticize their capacity. Capacity, because this thing looks like maybe it'll get 300 people through an hour. So if you've seen the Golden Lasso, you've seen basically Railblazer, except what's cool about this is that unlike Railblazer, which I think got the Six Flags treatment, at least Railblazer looks like it's incorporating scenery and like tunnels and all sorts of cool stuff.
Yeah. The first drop tunnel looks awesome, and yeah, it has that like nice light theme to it. That'd be pretty cool. And it has 3 trains. I know Screamscape has been reporting the last few days, like, it might only have 2 trains, but it looks like it has 3 trains, which is better than the rumored 2. And I mean, I think it looks like a fun ride. I think you guys might have even said this on when you're talking about Golden Lasso. It looks a lot bigger than I think it will be. I think a lot of people are going to walk in and be surprised how small this ride is when you consider it's only like 100 feet tall. It looks a little bigger because the track, when you're like, roller coaster track's generally this size, but when you think the track's only, 10 inches wide or something. But I think it's a solid addition. That park, we know is going to be growing a lot over the next few years. I think it's cool. Capacity is a little bit of concern, but I don't think that park ever gets super, super busy. So I like them. Plus, I'm seeing a little bit more of the cars today and stuff. I'm like, man, literally, there is going to be nothing on either side of you. It's going to be kind of neat, I think. Kind of neat gimmick.
Yeah, how tall is Railblazer?
It's like 102 feet, 100 feet, something like that. So it's a couple of feet shorter than Lasso of Truth. I think that's simply because that one sits out over water. So
it's like the same height as like Maverick.
Essentially, yeah, because I mean Gemini is like 125, so it's definitely shorter than Gemini. Blue Streak's like 78. Mm-hmm. Try and think like what's 100 feet at like Cedar Point. Yeah, I mean, so it's definitely going to be. Yeah, I think Maverick's right around that like 90-foot mark. So yeah, I mean it's not going to be that tall. I think it's a little bit of perspective when it's how small the track is and what we're used to. It looks bigger than it is, but I think it's going to be a fun ride. Yeah, I mean, you're going to be waiting for it, but it'll be fun. I think this is one where they'll probably be like, everything has to go in a locker, make everyone check their size before they get on, before they get to the station. So it's not one of those things you get in the car, realize you can't fit, or get in the car and have to go put your cell phone somewhere. I think they'll have to do that there. As much as I hate seeing, stuff like that at parks, I think that's the only way you can do it and get capacity.
Yeah. My issue is always going to be capacity, always. But yeah, it's an interesting attraction, and like you look at the one at Fiesta Texas, and you look at this, and it still seems like it's much taller than it actually is. Yeah, that's kind of what's crazy about it. Is like I feel like this is going to be much smaller than we imagine it. Yeah, but like it's still hard to imagine it.
Yeah, because I think it's one of those things we're so used to walking into a park and going, wow, that looks a lot bigger than I thought, with like Millennium Force or Fury or any of those rides. This is where I think we're going to walk in and be like, oh, a little smaller than I pictured. Yeah. So it'll be interesting. But I think it's a solid addition. Now it kind of shows us why, which I think we all were speculating, why Six Flags randomly decided to announce that one ride by itself 2 weeks ago.
Good point. I think the issue they had were they never showed it against any other attractions.
Yeah.
They showed it as its own. So I think if they compared it to other attractions, or they showed it around other attractions.
Yeah, it would help
seemed a
paint the
lot.
picture.
Yeah, but I think also on the other hand, they want to make it look bigger than it actually is.
Exactly.
So, I mean, yeah, let's be honest here. So that's Railblazer. Let's go to Twisted Timbers next.
Yeah.
So do
this
you
looks
want-
great.
yeah.
This looks great. It's the RMC treatment for Hurler. They've been teasing this forever.
Which also
And-
I brought up last year on the show with you guys.
Yeah.
As it being RMC, and was it the Legend or who was it again who was hosting the show?
I forget. It might have been Kenny. I don't know.
No, Kenny was a guest. He wasn't hosting. But yeah, the guy was in the King's Dominion area.
Oh, Clint.
Yeah, Clint. Thank you. Sorry. So Clint was like, "You better not be teasing me about this." And I'm like, "I don't think I am. I think it's getting RMC'd." So
Yeah.
it's RMC'd.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think King's Dominion has a very, very loyal fan base, and that whole area. When you look at talking like Michigan Adventures and Dorney, that whole area, those kind of parks. Same thing with Six Flags. I mean, they got a couple. Six Flags America's got a couple new rides, hand-me-downs, but I think their last new coaster is 2001 or something. So, and then when you look at King's Dominion, it's been several years since they got a major coaster. So. I think that area was just really hoping for something cool, and I think they got it. I don't know about where your expectations were for this, but I was kind of like, it's a smaller ride. It'll be cool. I mean, I'll definitely ride it at some point. Love RMCs. It'll be cool. But I think when they announced it today, I was like, crap, this is definitely one I have to get to next year. Definitely exceeded my expectations. And I definitely was like, yep, going to King's Dominion next year versus if I'm in the area, I'll try to ride it, hopefully ride it next year or two. To now it's like, yep, got to ride it next year.
Yeah, King's Dominion used to be my home park. I don't know if you ever knew that. I lived in Richmond, Virginia for 9 years.
Yeah, I remember you saying that, yeah.
So King's Dominion was my home park. I owned annual passes. We went there. My first big boy coaster was Hypersonic XLC. So talk about basically
Crazy.
talk about basically like, okay, we're going to baptize you, throw into the Mississippi. So
throw over Niagara Falls.
yeah, exactly. I still love Hypersonic, even though it turned into a piece of shit later. That launch is still incredible. Still one of the most insane things I've ever done in my life. But I haven't been to the park in a long time since I moved away. And they got the Italian Job, and they got Dominator from, again, Geauga Lake, the old Batman ride. And Jeff went there this year. And Intimidator, of course. Sorry, Intimidator again. How can I forget the Giga coaster they put in?
Yeah.
So this is a park I'm very familiar with, intimately familiar with. I remember back when the Hurlers still had all of its theming around
Wayne's World.
I remember Ricochet opening. I remember that area of the park very, very well. So I'm very interested in how this turns out and how it did turn out. I think there's a way that they could have made this coaster pretty safe and boring. I think they also somewhat went the way of, was it Storm Chaser in Kentucky Kingdom?
Yeah, no, Storm Chaser. And I rode
that
Storm
reminds
Chaser.
me of it a little bit.
Yeah, I rode that ride a couple months ago over Memorial Day, I think, and loved that ride. It was awesome. It gets a little bit of bad rap because I think a lot of people rode it last year, and not to get, I hate to be one of those like nerds who are like, well, the wheels were different, but from what everyone was telling me, like they're like, oh, it ran so slow last year. And then I was talking to a couple of people who rode it this year, and they're like, yeah, it's like noticeably like 6-7 seconds faster because they put different wheels on. And I thought it was great. I love that ride. A little crazy at the end with a bunch of little hops in, just like throwing you out of your seat, kind of like Magnum. But I love that. I love the twisting over drop. That's a really cool feature. I thought that was going to be kind of like a gimmick thing, but that was really neat. Kind of going upside down as you drop. What I love about Twisted Timbers, it takes like the best part about Storm Chaser, which is just one of those gigantic airtime hills. RMCs are all about these like crazy turns, crazy hills, but they don't have just like those old school like B&M hills. And this one has like 3 of them in a row. So you're going to drop off that hill, do a little pop, turn, and then it's like big hill, big hill, big hill. And I think that's just going to be awesome.
So, let's continue with the coaster talk a little bit. I think, there's 3 inversions, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep.
And
yeah.
there's 2 overbank turns, and it's kind of following the same hurler track, but it's RMC'd, so it's insane. They basically just took all the drugs.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed with what they've done. Haven't they added a new restaurant in front of the coaster, or has that been there?
That's been there. That's been like
Okay.
a 50s themed. So I have to think that's going to probably get changed because
I thought that was. Oh no!
that's like the old like 50s cafe thing.
Oh, okay, that's been there. I thought that
Yep.
was a little farther. I thought that was a little closer to the hub than it was located.
No, that's been
Okay.
there.
Okay, I know. Yep, no, I know what you're talking about. Because that's the one where on the right hand side of it, where is the old hypersonic exit.
Exactly.
So,
yep.
Okay. Nope. I know what you're talking about. Never mind. Yeah, I'm really excited about Twisted Timbers, but the one thing is just, can we just touch about how the 2 Kings parks are mirroring themselves very well? They have 2 new
Yeah.
and also then new in quotation marks wooden coasters that are themed around local small businesses that are haunted / creepy, and they're both ending in the word timbers. Like Mystic Timbers and Twisted Timbers, when you kind of break down, like they both have the vehicle fronts, they both have like beat up trucks. One's lumbering, one's lumber, one's an apple
one's
orchard.
Yeah.
Besides the fact that Twisted Timbers does not have a show scene at the end, it's kind of like, yeah, it's really interesting to see how these 2 turned out.
Yeah, I'm almost kind of surprised they didn't throw a shed at the end of Twisted Timbers. But I don't know if you saw my tweet from a little bit ago, but all I can think of is if you watch the announcement video for Twisted Timbers. I was catching up when I got home and looked at some of the people's live videos from earlier in the day. Like they had they're full on this orchard theme.
Mm-hmm.
Like they had like the truck says orchard on, they had like a mini like orchard press. I'm like, if they don't, so my tweet was, if they don't like have a hard cider theme to this ride, it's a big miss. Like Twisted Timbers right there. That's your name. Like you don't even have to change the name. You Twisted Timbers cider and sell that all out in front of the ride. Like, that's all I kept thinking of.
Twisted
like,
Hanover cider. There you go.
Yeah. Like I just kept seeing, everything about orchard this, orchard that, apple this, twisted apple. Because I feel like anytime you say you take like a drink and make it twisted, that's basically like spiking it. So I'm like,
Yeah.
if they don't have because Cedar Point has the themed beers and whatnot. If they don't have that for if they don't do the cider at Kings Dominion, big miss in my book.
Yeah. I feel like they could really do some really cool stuff with the food and drink. So, like, retheme that 50s area. Like, make that into something. Make that into something. Like, hell, go into Ricochet and do some cool stuff there. You know, there's plenty of things you can do in that area and make it like a little miniature orchard. Like, plant apple trees, you know. You can do something really cool there, similar to what they did with Mystic Timbers. Put the truck out front, do some really cool stuff. And I think that's something that would really improve that back of the park that's kind of lost its identity after Hypersonic. Because when Hypersonic was added, they just leveled a whole bunch of stuff, and it lost a lot of charm. And then they removed Hypersonic, and it's just now a concrete wasteland.
Yeah, and I mean, with Hurler being closed, I think these past 2 or 3 years, like that's just been a dead zone in the park. So, yeah, it'd be cool to kind of see it.
Has it been closed 2 years now?
Yeah.
So they didn't do any work on it last year, but they started to, and then this year they were working on it, and it'll open next year.
Yeah,
Wow.
I believe last year it was closed all last year because that's why.
Yeah.
That's why last
Right.
year when the Kings Dominion did the announcement, everyone was kind of like, "What?" Like everyone was thinking they were announcing RMC last year because they're like, "Okay, the ride's been closed. It's been closed all season." So yeah, I think this is the full year that it's been closed. So
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, man, something must have happened with Hurler. Like,
Yeah.
they must have said, we'll be done with it 2017, or like, we'll be done with it 2016 year end. And they're like, guys, we need to do $500,000 worth of upgrades on this thing. And they're like, screw it, close it. I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like the Space Mountain at Disneyland situation where they're like, we can't open this. Closed. Boom. Because that's the only thing, I mean, so that's kind of my take on it. But Twisted Timbers, I'm excited about. I think that's going to be a very exciting ride to open. Probably the most exciting ride that park's opened since Intimidator.
Yeah.
Probably the most unique since Hypersonic, at least.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I can talk about Hypersonic for like 2 hours. So
I got a chance to go on the Doompa, Hypersonic's big brother.
Oh
in
yeah,
Japan,
yeah.
And that was just beyond crazy. Like, holy crap!
How about that launch?
Holy crap! That was just like that was just. And then you go over that hill, and that just crazy airtime. And now it's a loop, but yeah, no, that's one crazy ride. And I can't imagine Hypersonic, because at least that launch, it's still super powerful on the Doompa or whatever you call it. But Hypersonic's launch was like 200 feet long. It was really short. So you went fast in a short period of time.
So Hypersonic was interesting. They screwed up on this ride on so many fronts. It's not even funny. The queue was not designed for evacuation purposes, so they couldn't use the whole queue. So you had to line up down the side of the attraction. So you couldn't use the nice, elaborately themed and decorated queue. That's how much they screwed up on this thing. So that was number one. Number two, they were using the Thrust Air 2000 trains, which were not reliable at all. These were the ones that had the
tires.
they all had tires, but this is the one that had the I believe it had the what was it? I forget. I forget if the nose used to be part of the train, the first car, or if it was a separate car, that front nose. I forget which one it was, but it was. I want to say it was its own hitch, like the front nose of the vehicle, and then you had all the ride vehicles afterwards. You didn't have the coffin around.
Gotcha.
You didn't have the coffin around you, and you basically take a left out of this the load station, and then you just park there and you pull back a little bit, and then that launch is the most intense thing I've ever experienced on a coaster. Like,
I can believe it.
I've done a lot of things, but going 0 to 80 in 1.8 seconds is very fast. And also what's crazy is, remember, you're looking right at that hill the whole time.
Yeah, it's staring you down.
Yeah, it's staring you down, and you know where you're going. You're like, there's no way I'm making this. And you're like, I know I have to be 80 feet, I have to be going 80 miles an hour at the end of this. And you're going, this is the length of my driveway.
Yeah, exactly.
And
how am I going to do this? And then you just shoot straight up for the sky.
Yeah, and the first few years, that attraction was great. It was fantastic. But then I started hearing things from like friends who worked at the park and in middle school and high school, and they're like, yeah, that attraction's like, people are welding on that nightly. Or it's like, if there's daily maintenance on that is ridiculous. And I'm just like, no way, but I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, that ride tore itself apart real quick. And the last time I rode that, it was a mess. That launch was amazing, but man, that ride was unbearably rough. They weren't replacing the tires. They weren't inflating them enough. Yeah. Don't inflate your tires. It sounds really good, Stan Checketts. Don't do it again. So I guess we might as well move on to the big guy.
The one left, which ironically, I mean, probably the one that it's funny. People are like, "Oh, which one are you most excited about?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm really excited about like King's Dominion or Great America." And they're like, "Why? Cedar Point." And I was like, because we all kind of know what Cedar Point's getting. The ride's like 80% built,
But we have no idea.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, we knew enough to be dangerous, but not enough to like satisfy our appetite. And I mean, the RMC Immune Streak, the gigantic crazy wooden roller coaster in the back of the park that when it opened, it was the world's tallest wooden roller coaster. And when it closed, it was one of the tallest wooden roller coasters in the world still, crazy stuff. Did you like Mean Streak? Were you a Mean Streak, one of the rare breed of Mean Streak fans?
So I was always scared of Mean Streak. My coaster fandom started around 2000.
Yeah.
So Mean Streak was always one of those things where when I would go to whenever I go to King's Dominion in 2000, whenever I would go to Cedar Point, I would rather go on every other roller coaster than Mean Streak. So eventually, Alan and I went on Mean Streak because we both know what was going to happen. So we were like, okay, let's ride Mean Streak. So we go right up in the station. His wife's waiting for us because she's like, nope, not doing it. Way smarter woman than I am. So we get on the coaster and we're driving. We're going up the lift hill, and there's just midges everywhere. There's just midges like. And you know what midges are, right?
Yeah.
There were just clusters of them. Like 3-foot in diameter ball clusters of them all up the lift hill. And Al and I are like, what are we doing? So I thought Mean Streak was fine. It's not great. I thought it was definitely one of the weaker coasters at the park. It reminded me a lot of the mid to late 90s kind of obsession with coasters where we just want height and speed, and that's it.
Yeah, we just give us make the hill tall and connect it to the station somehow. Everything in between, we don't really care.
Yeah, like it reminded me a lot of a really bad version of Goliath.
Yeah.
Just like Goliath to me is very boring at Magic Mountain. Like it doesn't feel like a coaster. It doesn't feel like it has it doesn't feel like there's acts to it. It just feels like it exists. That's how I felt with Mean Streak. So I was not a Mean Streak person at all.
I grew up a huge Cedar Point fanboy. It's funny you were saying, how long it took you to kind of ride Mean Streak. Mean Streak was the last major coaster because I was big into coasters, but I was one of those people who like really liked them but was scared to ride them kind of thing.
No,
so
I get that. I get that. Yeah.
I appreciate like how cool like the concepts were of them and like what they could do.
Sort of like people who are like. So I was listening to the Giant Bombcast today. Again, I talk about other podcasts all the time. So this one dude's like, I want to get a scorpion for a pet, like a really big one, but I'm scared of scorpions. I mentioned it's something like that, right?
Yeah. So like I Mean Streak was the last coaster at Cedar Point I rode after like a couple years of working my way up. And this was many years ago, but. I didn't mind it. I mean, it wasn't a great ride. It was definitely rough, but if you sat towards the front, it was better. I appreciated how cool it looked and how long it was. I thought that was always neat and how it twisted throughout itself. And last year, when I took some of my last rides, I was lucky enough to get a trims off ride, and that made for a pretty exciting ride.
Yeah.
It was actually a lot smoother with the trims off, but. I mean, I definitely don't miss it. I'm glad. I will say, like, this is going to sound complete Cedar Point nerd fanboy, but I'm glad they're not changing the appearance of it too much. Like, they're kind of keeping the general like look and feel of it because I think it is probably one of the most epic looking roller coasters, especially now. Before it looked great, now it looks even more epic. Just this gigantic ride.
Mean Streak always looked amazing. It kind of reminded me of a more compact version of Son of Beast.
Yeah.
And I've always thought that those two attractions looked imposing as much as Son of Beast was a piece of shit. Those are definitely they looked really nice. And I think Mean Streak is just an absolutely gorgeous coaster. So that's what's exciting about this, is keeping a lot of that aesthetic.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And let's maybe start with the name. What are your thoughts on the name?
I am mixed on the name. With a lot of people online, my joke is it should be called Hybrid Vengeance.
Yeah, I saw you advocating for that.
Yeah.
Which did you notice? Someone pointed this out that the word steel looks like steel, and the word vengeance is made out of wood. So you have like steel and wood in the logo.
Okay, I think that's
that neat little thing. I know someone pointed out. I can't take credit for it.
Okay, I like that. My issue is it just sounds kind of boring. That's my thing. It's just, I mean, you have Maverick, you have Millennium Force, you have even, God, there's just some really good names. I just feel Steel Vengeance is lacking something. It doesn't feel like it feels like it's a little more. I feel like you could name you could rename like the Phantom to Steel Vengeance, and it would be the same thing. Like I feel like we could swap out this name with a lot of other rides. But you can't swap out something like Mystic Timbers or the Beast or Maverick.
Yeah. So I will say I like the name. I think maybe with the Frontier Town theme, I was kind of hoping and kind of wished that it would have been a little bit like I heard that someone say maybe Claim Jumper might be the name. I thought that would have been really cool.
Oh,
I think Steel Vengeance
Claim Jumper?
Claim Jump. Yeah, like jump in your gold claim or something. And I think that would have been kind of neat. But I think from a marketing standpoint, I'm a marketing guy. So at least how I approach it is you have to. I feel like they almost have to put the word steel in it because it's like even when I was at the park with my family a couple months ago, and I mean they've gone to the parks many times with me. I would say they're a little bit educated in the world of roller coasters. They're not just average Joe, and they're looking at it like, oh, so they're just redoing Mean Streak. I'm like, no, like they're adding steel to it. They're like, what, like as supports? I'm like, no, you can see the track. It's all steel. And they're like, oh, so like, wait, so it's going to like it was hard concept for them to grasp. So I think they probably wanted to put the word steel in the name just to kind of reinforce with people like, hey, this is a brand new ride using steel. Because if someone was showing me today, like on a lot of people are talking about the Hurler Twisted Timbers, and people are like, how does a wooden roller coaster go upside down? How can it go upside down over the drop? Blah, blah, blah. And like we all know that can happen. Look at Mind Blower. But I think people weren't resonating with them that, hey, this is a steel ride. So that's kind of my approach. Like I was not shocked at all to see them put the word steel in it, just because I think it makes sense. And just how Six Flags, Iron Rattler and stuff like that, like specifically calling out like, hey, we know this is a wooden roller coaster. We know that you think this is a wooden roller coaster, but it's steel now. So that's my take on it.
Okay, okay, yeah, I can see that. I don't
know if they thought, but that's just how I kind of rationalized the steel portion of it. Now, let me ask you this: Did you watch the on their website? They have like obviously the POV, the fly around, but did you watch the story video?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so because that kind of helped me understand the Vengeance name a little bit more and the tie into Maverick and everything. But I think that's why I watched that video. I was like, okay, I can kind of see where they're going with this name now.
It's an interesting story because Maverick's logo is a horse, but whenever they talk about Maverick, it was a dude.
Yeah,
it's like
that's true.
What? So that was my kind of weird cognitive dissonance on that. Yeah. So that's. I feel like there's a better name there still. I feel like there's something better they could have named this. It feels like they could have done something. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm just picky and I don't know. Yeah, Steel Vengeance. It's a roller coaster. Should I pull up the stats or what should we do?
Yeah, if you want to pull up the stats, I'll kind of give my thoughts while you pull up the stats.
Well, my internet's already freaking out. I'm just pulling up stats.
Throwing around the. Well,
so you talk. I'll pull it up on my phone. Sorry.
Perfect. So, yeah, I mean, when you look at this ride, I think it's everything that we all thought it would be, and then some. I know a lot of people are throwing around this is going to be the best coaster in the world, and I don't know if I'm ready to throw on that title because I think you got to ride it to kind of see, but I definitely think it's a contender for that, and which is really, really cool because it's been a couple of years. I mean, I guess Lightning Rod a couple of years ago, last year was kind of one of those that you're like, cool, this could be a contender, but really besides like Lightning Rod in the last like year or two, there hasn't been that many roller coasters that you're like, wow, this one. When it's announced, this has a chance to be one of the best in the world, and so that was really cool to see. Love the new trains, kind of the look and feel of them, and I mean, I think just like you got the crazy first half that has the gigantic hills, and then the last half where like, again, I can't take credit for this. I've read someone who said like you can't figure out if you're upside down, right side up, going through that last like run through it because you're twisted upside. You're just going everywhere, and you're inside that wooden structure, which is just going to be crazy.
It really reminds me of a kind of like Lost. It's a support forest. You're just like there's supports everywhere. You're just going. It feels like they carved a whole new path out of that, or maybe it's the same path. I don't know. Which
is genius when you think about it, because that in theory will be the slowest portion of the ride because it's near the end, but it'll feel like the fastest because you'll have stuff so close to you. So, I mean that it's going to be one of those rides where like you won't be able to tell that it's slowing down because it's getting closer to the end, because the illusion of speed is just going to get greater and greater as the ride goes on.
Yeah. So the official write-up from Cedar Point is they're back, and they're back with a vengeance. Once intimidated and disrespected by the musings of Mavericks, outcast those people. I don't want to read their names because it's just, ugh. Like, I mean, they have it reminds me a lot of the Take Cedar Point or whatever, the Cedar Point, like, superhero thing. Yeah, but anyway, a bunch of people brought stuff back to, they're trying to take back Frontier Town. And here's some of the stats. It's 205 feet tall. It's 74 miles an hour. 4 inversions. It's over a mile long. The attraction lasts long, 2 minutes and 30 seconds long. There's 3 trains and 24 riders per train. So yeah, 90-degree lift, 90-degree drop. I'm trying to see what else, because they have a bunch of these like crazy statistics. They're like, world's tallest hybrid roller coaster. I'm like, what? No, come on, guys. But yeah, they're also saying 27.2 seconds of airtime.
I mean, that last half, when you're right before the break run, there was like 5 bunny hills in a row. Like, holy crap, you're not going to be in your seat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is going to be complete. You're going to be out of this the whole time.
Which is funny because I was watching, Twisted Timbers got announced like an hour beforehand. I was watching that video. I go, holy crap! People aren't giving this ride enough credit, but this might have the most airtime on any roller coaster. It did for maybe like an hour, and then this thing gets announced. I was like, nope, this ride will have more. But yeah, for like that between 11 a.m. and noon, I was like, holy crap! Twisted Timbers could surprise people with having like the most airtime on a coaster here. Like, this is pretty crazy. Hour later, nope.
Yeah. So, man, so far we've seen the crazy, ridiculous, overbanked outside turns. So not even like the normal overbanked turns. These are ones that go on the outside of the turn. So you're basically being ejected from the ride vehicle as you're making these grandiose turns. So for the park records, they keep saying most steel roller coaster track at one amusement park. So they're trying to go for that record, I guess. Most rides, most coasters over 200 feet tall. And they have, and a good point, they have 5 coasters with at or more 90-degree drops.
Yeah, that stat right there, and the one about having, so many coasters over 200 feet is just crazy. Like, it just shows, Cedar Point's still the king.
Yeah, but I mean, they still count, like, Wicked Twister in that, so it's like... So it's like, I don't know about that, guys. But it's, God, man, this attraction, I don't know what's going on with it. Dear Lord. What else do you want to talk about with it?
I don't know. That's kind of I want to say, like, definitely not like a disappointment or anticipated, but everyone's like, oh my God, the announcement. It's like I was kind of saying, we already kind of knew most of it. So it was like, unlike some coasters, like the Silver Dollar City coaster that just were like, didn't really know much about it. It's like, boom, here's a whole new ride. Mm-hmm. We knew a lot about this ride, and I'm super pumped. Like, this is definitely, I try to get to Cedar Point every year, so my point here doesn't really matter, but definitely has like me going, yep, I need to go. I need to try to go there like in May and try to ride this thing and get on this as soon as possible, because this looks pretty badass.
Yeah, one of my things I definitely want to do is last year for Mystic Timbers, they did that giveaway
Yeah,
like you
the
raise
charity
money.
thing.
Yeah, the charity thing. So if they do that again this year, I am definitely doing that.
The only thing is they've done stuff like that before for Cedar Point, where they auction off, like, instead of doing like the charity night, I think Mystic Timber thing was a couple hundred people or something. You had like the whole evening. Cedar Point's done where like they auction off the first like 3 trains, and last few times they've done roller coasters, like it's like $3 or $4 grand. Like the bids get crazy for that stuff. I think maybe they'll switch to the concept where they do like what they did with Mystic Timbers, where they'll let a couple hundred people in and do it for charity over the course of the night, which I think would be really cool. But last few times Cedar Point's done it, it's been like, I remember like Maverick, it was like $2 or $3 grand for the first car out or something like that.
Jeez. Yeah. No. I mean,
it's a charity, so it's great. But yeah, you have a lot of like. And Cedar Point's just in so many people's blood in that entire northern Ohio, Michigan area that people go crazy for it. So,
well, I mean, that's when you say like, "Hey, the top 200 people get in," or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And you have to raise at least $200 or something. So, so I'm totally down for that. I'm gonna buy a Cedar Point Platinum Pass this year, so I can go one more time this year for their Halloween event, and then I'll go for next year because that's clearly the best deal.
I think I'm going Platinum Pass too. I might try to sneak in a Kings Island Winterfest visit. Have some family in that area. Try to do that over Christmas.
Can you buy a Platinum Pass this year and get into Winterfest?
Yes, I believe so.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'll have to look into that because I may go down for Winterfest.
So, well, if you buy a Cedar Point one, I don't know if that gets you in. Yeah, no, because I think this year free is only for whatever park you buy it for. So like next year, your Platinum Pass gets you into Winterfest no matter what the park is once it becomes your Platinum Pass. But like your free admission for this time, the free one-time admission, I think would have to be. But I mean, at that point, just buy the pass for Kings Island and get down at Kings Island.
Maybe. Or I just go to Cedar Point.
Yeah, I mean, worst case scenario, I go to Cedar Point. So
yeah, worst case scenario. So that was the other attraction announcement today that I totally forgot about because everything's been insane today. Is Silver Dollar City announced Time Traveler?
Yeah, Mac not dual launch, but I guess you could say dual launch. To launch, Mac spinning coaster has a crazy like 90-degree drop right out of the station. I mean
3 inversions.
To me, I'm not a huge spinning ride person, so I'm cautiously optimistic about the ride. I think it could be pretty cool, or it could be just crazy all out spinning. So I think that's kind of the when I saw spinning, I was like, ooh, okay, we'll see how this is, but the layout looks awesome. And I mean, just backing up for a second, Silver Dollar City is like one of my all-time favorite parks and has such a great location, it is a great location, but it's a great collection of rides. And this is only going to add to this. So, I mean, that park is just getting better and better. So
cool. Yeah, everything looked awesome with that ride. I can handle spinning coasters, but this one seems way more involved than normal.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it's just by the concept art. It looks like it's like free spin the whole ride, which could be crazy. I'm kind of hoping maybe it's like Cobra's Curse, or like I rode the Max Spinner coaster that has the same kind of trains at Europa, and that was controlled spin for part of the ride. So I'm hoping maybe like there's some controlled non-spin portions of it to kind of give you like your equilibrium, a moment of relaxation, but definitely, I love the concept of like the station that's just stupid high off the ground and a drop
right out of it.
Right out of it, yeah. That's totally awesome. I love the rides at Kennywood that do stuff like that. So it's definitely really unique. Like I said, I think for me, cautiously optimistic about it. I think it could be it's going to be a great ride, but make or break it as like incredible ride. I'll have to see how the spinning goes.
Okay, cool. We have about 2 more hours till Knott's announcement, and we still have Kennywood's announcement, which is reportedly an RMC of some sort. maybe a raptor. I don't know.
Yeah, which we haven't heard a lot about that lately, so I'm starting to get a little concerned about that. If that will, because Kenny was one of those parks that you love them, but they sometimes are a little slow to build rides. You know, you'll hear them, hey, we're working on this ride, and that kind of goes dark for a year or two for whatever reason. Maybe that was back more when they were, self-owned, but but we'll see. We'll see. You know, I think it's still really early in the announcement season. I mean, we got Knott's in a few hours, like you said, but we got Six Flags in 2 weeks, and we go through this whole thing all over again. So
yeah, it's going to be interesting. Oh man. So
2018.
Yeah, 2018
shaping up to be a good year.
There's a lot going on. Because, I mean, when 2018 was, like, when 2017 was looking up, it was still, like, not much. It was barren. It seems like everything's 2018 now, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a good enough, there was, like Mr. Timmer's fantastic, Mind Blower's pretty good, Invader looks pretty great. But, like I said, what's really cool about Steel Vengeance is it's that, like, from the moment it's announced, you're like, contender for top ride, and we haven't seen that in a few years, so it's always cool when you see that.
Okay, cool. So Andrew, where can we find you online at?
Right now I just got the Twitter, just tweeting away at online Hyde HYDE. That's kind of my place, and I like to take usually you find my tweets a little bit. I try to take like the business approach, like why are parks doing this. That's what fascinates me. So if you're looking for that angle, give me a follow. Let's talk.
Yeah. Yeah, let's talk,
Let's debate. Let's debate. Let's debate who's buying SeaWorld,
Yeah. Oh god.
Whole nother episode there.
Oh boy, yeah, we can do a whole nother episode there. You can find all of us at Parkscope. Yeah. I mean, we're gonna attach this to another episode, see what's going on. We'll see everyone later. Kongaloosh.